We need to build, and it has to be built quickly.
Good morning. It is 9:07 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? I'm Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners. You get those at betterwater.com. We got a fun show for you today. Very excited. We're going to have some guests in studio. AEW's Jeff Jarrett is going to be in studio. I swear, one of the reasons that I love politics is I grew up loving wrestling, and I think that they're the exact same thing. There's something that happens on the screen, and everybody sees it, but there's always something far more interesting happening behind the scenes, and it is the perfect the perfect comparison to politics. There's nothing better. There just isn't. So we're going to talk to Jeff Jarrett today. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. Hated this guy growing up. Absolutely hated him. Loathed him.
Means he did his job well.
I know.
Which is the best part.
And I didn't even realize that until I became an adult.
It finally clicks.
It finally clicked. I was like, damn, he was good. Because I spent the majority of my life hating this man. So I can't wait to tell him. Jeff, welcome to the show. Spent the majority of my life hating you. How are you? That's what I'm going to lead with. I'm going to say, please don't hurt me.
Please don't hurt me. I used to think you were the worst.
Please don't hurt me. Could not stand you. Rooted for you to lose.
Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for coming in today. AEW has a big show tomorrow night in Nashville, night before Thanksgiving. I'm going. Can't help it. Got to do it.
Yeah.
They randomly emailed me. They're like, "Hey, would you like?" Yes. That's how I didn't even
Please.
get through it. Yep.
Yeah.
Sure do.
Absolutely.
So we're excited about that. It's gonna be a fun conversation. I wonder, these guys. These guys travel like 250 days a year, right?
Yeah.
So Jeff Jarrett, he's been with some of the biggest stars in the industry, like guys like Hulk Hogan and Stone Cold Steve Austin, but also like the biggest stars like Yokozuna, like guys that are like 400, 500 pounds. So I wonder if he has any fun Thanksgiving stories about being on the road with some of these animals.
Squashed.
Right? 100%. So it's going to be a fun conversation, and we're looking forward to that. Then Josh Tifo is going to be in here. Tifo Tuesdays, back on track.
Let's go.
And we're gonna talk to Josh. Looking forward to that as always. But I will tell you this: we begin today with some pretty big news, man. And the big news is this: did we just get a Ukraine peace deal? Is that what I'm hearing? Because that's what it appears to be. A lot of individuals are talking about this peace deal with the Ukraine. Maybe you've heard of them. Warmongers and neocons on suicide watch right now. To be perfectly honest with you, a lot of people are going to feel it in their pocketbook when the war ends. Make no mistake about it. And we're looking forward to having this conversation. So This is just coming down. Yesterday, Marco Rubio was talking about the deal that he worked out in Geneva, and he confirmed that the peace talks were perhaps the best they ever had. And this came out yesterday while we were doing the radiothon.
I think we made a tremendous amount of progress, even from the last time I spoke to you, and I apologize for keeping you waiting, but there was more work to be done. We began almost 3 weeks ago with a foundational document that we socialized and ran by both sides, and with input from both sides. And one of the things that happens when you've been involved in this now for 10 months is you get a pretty good sense of what the priorities and the red lines and the important issues are for both sides. And so that allowed us to create a foundational document, which has been an ongoing working document. In fact, over the last 96 hours or more, there's been extensive engagement with the Ukrainian side, including our Secretary of the Army and others being on the ground in Kyiv, meeting with relevant stakeholders across the Ukrainian political spectrum in the legislative branch and the executive branch and the military and others to further sort of narrow these points. We arrived here today with one goal, and the goal was to take is 28 points or 26 points, depending on which version as it continued to evolve, and try to narrow the ones that were open items. And we have achieved that today in a very substantial way. Now, obviously, like any final agreement, they'll have to be agreed upon by the presidents, and there are a couple issues that we need to continue to work on. But I think the report today is that I think today was worthwhile. It was very, very, it is probably the most productive day we have had on this issue. Maybe in the entirety of our engagement, but certainly in a very long time. But work remains, and because this continues to be a working process, I don't want to declare victory or finality here. There's still some work to be done, but we are much further ahead today at this time than we were when we began this morning and where we were a week ago for.
So that was Rubio yesterday. Now, there were reports that Ukrainian officials had started agreeing to this, and then we got reports that Vladimir Zelensky was pushing back on it. He actually said on Monday, this is from Breitbart, that his main problem with the 28-point peace plan proposed by the U.S. is that it legally recognizes territory Russia captured from Ukraine by force during the invasion that kicked off in 2022. Zelensky said in a video address to the Swedish parliament on Monday, Putin wants legal recognition of what he has stolen to break the principle of territorial integrity and sovereignty. That's the main problem. You all understand what this means. Borders cannot be changed by force. Okay, so Zelensky was pushing back, and it kind of gave everybody a little bit of pause, right? Some officials are in on it. Other officials are out. But now we're getting new reports this morning, and this was on CNN this morning, I believe. Yep, CNN. That Ukraine has agreed to the peace proposal brokered by President Trump.
We have some breaking news coming in. Moments ago, we are learning into CNN from a U.S. official that Ukraine has agreed to a peace proposal with Russia, saying only, quote, minor details are outstanding. Now, this as Ukraine's President Zelensky, though, says that more work needs to be done. Adding to the nuance here, in a post on X, Ukraine's National Security Secretary writes that the delegations had, quote, reached a common understanding on the core terms of the agreement discussed in Geneva. Overnight, a new wave of deadly strikes exchanged between Russia and Ukraine. At least 7 people were killed in Ukraine, 3 in Russia. So the war grinds on regardless.
So it does seem like the one guy standing in the way of it is none other than Vladimir Zelensky. Okay. Once again, it seems like Zelensky's standing in the way of peace. Trump the other day said if Zelensky doesn't want peace, well, he can just fight his little heart out. He said this. He said, fight his little heart out. And when it happened, I was like, that's pretty savage. He said this. This was a couple days ago. This was over the weekend. President Trump making these comments when asked about the Russian-Ukraine peace plan. The objective, peaceful resolution, but Zelensky has to accept the terms. Trump was asked about it. This was his comments.
Is this your final offer to Ukraine?
No, not right now. No, we'd like to get to peace. It should have happened a long time ago. The Ukraine war with Russia should have never happened. If I were president, it never would have happened. We're trying to get it ended. One way or the other, we have to get it ended. So Well, then he can continue. Then he can continue to fight his little heart out.
It's just what a savage thing to say. If he doesn't want the peace deal, he can fight his little heart out. I think that's the nice way of saying, like, you're welcome to continue, but it's not going to end the way you think it's going to end. Also, if you're watching on Super Talk TV, what the hell is Trump wearing? Does anybody have any idea? What is that? What am I looking at? I've never seen him dress like this, and a lot of people are making comments on this. This comes a day after he met with a communist in the White House, so like the commie changed his appearance.
It looks like a scarf tucked into his coat, but like that's a big scarf.
And it's a weird coat.
Yeah,
it's like
it's not his normal suit coat.
It's like half suit jacket.
Yeah,
not a fan. Not a fan.
I don't mind it, but it's not Trump.
It's not.
It's not Trump.
It does not fit. It does not fit Trump. Is that a body double? Is that even the real Trump? Start those conspiracy theories before the holidays.
Perfect. Just right in.
They replaced him after that commie visited. I don't know what happened. Listen, we're praying for peace, and I think that's what we should do. I hope that this is agreed to on all sides, and I'm grateful for the president putting that work in, grateful for Rubio putting that work in, Steve Witkoff behind the scenes as well. If anybody can bring peace, it's President Trump. I'm just going to continue to pray that it comes to fruition. And the White House is signaling that they want this done before Thanksgiving. Could we have a Thanksgiving miracle? Would that be a Thanksgiving miracle? I think it would.
I'll make that deal. How about you, bitch? You make that deal?
Make that deal.
I'd make that deal.
Good deal.
I don't blame you. Damn good deal.
Imagine that.
Be pretty good.
Do they celebrate Thanksgiving in Ukraine? Probably not.
Probably not.
What a bunch of losers. It's the best holiday there is. I'll be honest with you. Coming in a close second, Arbor Day.
I was going to say Labor Day.
Arbor Day. I do. I love Thanksgiving. And the spirit of giving was on full display yesterday. I just do want to take a second to thank you all for your generosity, the overwhelming support that we get from this audience every single year at our Nashville Rescue Mission Radiothon, the More Than a Meal Radiothon. We raised over $218,000. And that is unbelievable.
Absolutely nuts.
It is humbling to see this audience show up for us and show up for the Nashville Rescue Mission year after year after year. I've been a part of a lot of radiothons over my career. In fact, we used to do one in Richmond. This is like a decade ago. But we would do one in Richmond, and we would do it over the course of 3 days, and we would do it for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I tell you what, over the course of 3 days, we would grind out $60,000 to $90,000, and we would be overwhelmed and overjoyed. Like that's no small feat either. Okay. But for this audience to show up year after year after year, donating hundreds of thousands of dollars in a 12-hour period, it's truly remarkable, and we can't thank you guys enough. So thank you to everyone that donated. Thank you to everyone that listened, that joined us on the live stream, and more. Thank you to all of the businesses that supported the Nashville Rescue Mission. We had so many amazing sponsors that showed up and showed out for us. The Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project, they showed up with a check for $7,500. David Corlew did. Then he called back about a couple hours later. He said, "You know what? I'm gonna add another $2,500 and make that a smooth $10,000," which is just, I mean, it's unbelievable. They don't have to do this stuff. And then so many individuals saying, "Listen, I don't have a lot, but I can spare $15." And those donations mean so much to me, and they mean so much to the rescue mission. And I said it yesterday over and over again. Imagine if you were told that $3.11 would impact somebody's eternity. And there's a very real possibility that your $3.11 you donated did just that. Thanks to the Christ-filled mission that they have at the Nashville Rescue Mission. And it's truly humbling to be a part of it. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart and from everybody here at the radio station. It's an all hands on deck event when we do this. And we have a great team behind the scenes, and they were working their tail off, showing up at 3:30 in the morning. We had our one of our best salespeople, Tanya. It's her baby. She does this every single year. We had Kirby in engineering showing up bright and early. He beat the Nashville Rescue Mission people to the Nashville Rescue Mission. He was there so early to get us all set up and running at such a high level. Rich, our promotions director, was unbelievable. And then we had all the support staff behind the scenes. We had, Mason and Jackson and Sam and Louie, Bell, everybody back here at home base running things super smooth behind the scenes. And then we had all of our promotional people down there as well, AJ and Madison. And I mean, I could go on and on. There were so many unsung heroes yesterday, but I think that the biggest hero of yesterday was absolutely you and this audience showing up for us once again. Anytime we ask you guys to show up, it's like without hesitation, you do. And that is a humbling experience. And I truly just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. You're going to make miracles happen with those donations. You are going to impact someone's eternity. And I just want to say thank you. It's 9:21. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at the Glock store. Black Friday's on the way, and Black Friday's going to be great, but what about Super Saturday? Have you heard about Super Saturday? Well, my friends at the Glock store are throwing their first annual Black Friday and Super Saturday sale. Everything's going to be on sale, okay? Including a special deal on a special Glock that is a price too low to mention. In fact, there are so many great deals. Here's what I recommend you do. You hit the website, glockstore.com, and then you click on the Black Friday deals category. Then you make a list of what you'd like, and then you place the order. So then you get to the store, you get to browse around and do all the fun stuff, hit the food trucks, go to the raffles, do all that. And the guys at the Glock store will do the shopping for you. How awesome does that sound? Find another place that's going to do that. You're not going to forget anything if you do it this way, trust me. And you won't be distracted during all the giveaways. And then you can get that Uncle Bud's food truck food and chill. Donaldson's favorite fried chicken and catfish restaurant has a brand new food truck. You're going to be one of the first to try it at the Glock store on Black Friday, on Super Saturday. So let's recap. Great deals on everything, including Glocks. Raffles all day. Great prizes. Uncle Bud's food truck. You can almost taste the Hush Puppies. Everybody can taste the Hush Puppies. And that's the Glock store's Black Friday and Super Saturday sale. Minutes from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere, especially on Friday and Saturday.
New York porch pirates beware. We'll have that story. Also, a cruise ship death mystery continues, and having a college degree may not be that big of a factor when it comes to finding work these days. We'll explain. All that's coming up at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Jay Harper in the newsroom. It is 9:27 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. We got Mason Fleming producing. We got you guys on the phone lines, on the text line, 615-737-9986. Also in the YouTube chat. I'm reading some of your messages. This is in relation to the Radiothon. 8602 wanted to know if anyone took their challenge to give to the Nashville Rescue Mission in honor of Charlie Kirk. Yes, quite a few people did. We had many $17.76 donations in honor of Charlie Kirk.
That's gold.
It's so based.
That's so good.
So based. We also had $97 donations for Uncle Phil. Bill Valentine. It's not lost on me that we do the Radiothon every year and I get to stand on the shoulders of giants that came before me.
Yeah.
Make no mistake about it. There's a lot of guys that have been doing this for a lot of years. Dan's got a baker's dozen. That was his 13th year. So it's not missed that I'm the new guy on the block, and it's like you got a lot to live up to, kid. And then I feel that.
Yeah, getting to see the magic worked is incredible.
It's unbelievable. I will say this though. And 4956, very disappointed, said nobody lost their eyebrows. We did. We had, we said if somebody wanted to do a $25,000 donation, we would shave off our eyebrows.
If somebody did it today.
Yeah, I would do that. If somebody wants to cut a check to, we'll extend it. I'll extend it for one day. If somebody wants to cut a check for $25,000 to the Nashville Rescue Mission, I will still shave off my eyebrows. You could probably get me to do that in April. I think I would just do that anytime. Like anytime you come across, you win the lottery in a month or two, then you just knock on my door and say it's time, and I'll say perfect.
They just show up with the trimmers
with the
and
razor.
It's time.
We all of us would have done it. All of us would have done it.
That would have been great.
You know how long it takes for eyebrows to grow back? We did some Googling.
So long.
I did not understand that.
Yeah.
I also feel terrible because we would do that to people. They'd fall asleep at a party. We'd get them.
Yeah.
We'd get them.
First person to sleep at the sleepover.
I don't remember it taking 3 months for it to grow back. I don't remember that part.
Wild.
I do remember shaving an eyebrow or two back in my day.
They learned not to sleep.
I apologize to those friends. We were awful. You never wanted to be the first one to fall asleep.
No, it was always the worst.
Oh, my gosh.
I remember getting pelted with water balloons one time. It was like, never again will I be the first one.
Dude, it was chaos.
It's always nuts.
It was chaos. I don't know how we survived. I don't know why I did sleepovers, like knowing that was part of it. If you fall asleep first, you're doomed.
We had a group of friends that it was on our fall retreat. There was a lake next to the cabins that we were in, and he fell asleep first, so we all decided to stay up late that night. We took his air mattress and pushed him out over the lake.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
Savages.
So good.
Savages. 4167 says, I cut my eyebrows off before a promotional interview when I was a cop. I had to use my wife's eyebrow pencil to draw some on. That's what I pictured. I pictured we were all going to get our eyebrows shaved off and that we were all going to come in looking like Uncle Leo from Seinfeld in that one episode. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We got a lot more on the way. What's going on with Marjorie Taylor Greene? We'll talk about it next. It's 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's gold, Jerry. Gold!
Good morning. It's 9:30. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We'll get that weather forecast for the holiday coming up. Prosecutors on New York's Long Island, they say they've broken up a ring of porch pirates, people who hacked into a FedEx delivery system to track when and where packages would show up. More from ABC's Aaron Katursky, who says electronics and cell phones were especially targeted.
Officials releasing videos they say show the alleged pattern. A FedEx employee drops off a box, and moments later, a thief swipes it and flees in a waiting car. The stolen phones were allegedly taken to a stash house in the Bronx in garbage bags before they were resold in the United States and internationally. Investigators say they recovered more than 200 mobile phones and tens of thousands of dollars in cash.
The cruise ship mystery behind 18-year-old Anna Kettner's death continues as her grandparents speak publicly about her death for the first time. Grandmother Barbara Kepner, talking to ABC News about the incident. Also, Anna's stepbrother has reportedly been named a suspect in her death. ABC's Victor Akindo reports that no one, as of yet, has been charged in the case.
They don't know exactly what happened inside that stateroom. They do not want to speculate either, and they might never know, but they don't think that anyone else was involved. Anna and her stepbrother, they had a good relationship. This is all according to the grandparents. They call them two peas in a pod. They were both good students. He played soccer. She was on the cheerleading team. But the stepbrother did have some demons in the past. That is what Barbara Kepner told us, Grandma. She said that he was in therapy for a time following his parents' divorce. But they did make it clear he was not violent.
In other news, new statistics point to a sharp slowdown in white-collar hiring this year. ABC's Jim Ryan says a college diploma, no guarantee of work.
Americans with four-year degrees now make up a record 25% of total unemployment. The Bureau of Labor Statistics says the jobless rate for bachelor's degree holders rose to 2.8% in September, up 0.5% from a year earlier. People with other levels of education, by contrast, showed little or no increase over the same period.
That's the latest news. Weather's up next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
And we've maintained from the very beginning that the American people just deserve the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth as it relates to the Epstein files.
Another email shows Democrat fundraisers invited Epstein to an event or to meet privately with Hakeem Jeffries. So Hakeem Jeffries' campaign solicited money from Jeffrey Epstein.
We believe in transparency. We believe in accountability. We believe in due process. And let me be very clear about Stacey Plaskett. She's a woman of great intelligence and a woman of great integrity.
And I got a text from Jeffrey Epstein, who at the time was my constituent, who was sharing information with me.
They've arraigned a Democratic member for taking a phone call from her constituent, Jeffrey Epstein, in the middle of a hearing.
One thing he's clearly doing is changing the subject from a different form of crime, which is child sex trafficking, which Jeffrey Epstein was a mastermind of.
I have a feeling we're going to learn about how deeply tied into the left Epstein really was.
It's 9:38, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners. Why? Why would you need a water filter?
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Listen, if you need a Christmas idea, betterwater.com.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody wants that to happen to their frogs.
No, not at all.
No, it's listen. If a frog goes that route on its own, that's fine. But chemicals doing it.
Nah.
That's the issue. That's the issue.
It's the issue.
We have no problem with the frogs that are choosing to go that route.
Yeah, it's like let them hop across the street all day.
That's probably what's going to get me the most in trouble. The fact that I said that frogs are choosing it. That's what. It's not. Nothing else is going to give you. I said they're choosing that lifestyle.
They're choosing it.
It's up to them. It's up to them. Sorry.
It's all
I totally got myself in trouble. It's a choice. Anyway, people are texting in. There's traffic issues. Is this the busiest traffic day of the year? Or is that tomorrow?
I think it's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
Is the big one because everybody will leave for the big holiday, I think, on Thursday.
I think that's what's happening.
I think so.
But we have an accident on 65 North.
Yeah, there's an accident on 65 North. Crash of the right shoulder blocked near Harding Place at exit 78. I also saw there's a crash with the left 3 lanes blocked on 24. Near Briley Parkway, exit 54.
Classic 24.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
No. Anybody else here? Mason put on his traffic reporter voice for a second?
I did for a second. I started reading it. I was like, oh, no.
Yeah, you fell right into that.
I do it too often.
You do a good traffic report, I'll tell you that.
Ah, shucks.
He does.
I appreciate it. But I did see this semi-fire cleanup on 24. Was there a fire on 24 this morning?
So I drove by that on my way in. It was...
Yeah, I drove by that at like 4 o'clock this morning. It was there.
It's like the trailer of an 18-wheeler, and it's just sitting there all melted.
Yeah, it's all ripped to shreds, and the load of the truck kind of oozing out of the side of the trailer.
Yeah. Apparently, on here it says it caught fire overnight. The truck will be removed after the morning drive, so hopefully here soon.
What caught fire in the back of the truck?
I have no idea.
I don't know, unless the brakes perhaps ignited the load.
Of course, Jay Harper goes to brakes. My mind immediately goes to illegal aliens, and I think of. I'm like, are they transporting humans? Because I went to remember the Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode where they ride in the back of the U-Haul and they decide to light a barbecue up back there.
No, just got hungry.
That's where my mind went. Jay Harper's probably much more realistic.
Yeah, my mind went to like transferring like Tannerite or something.
Speaking of dumpster fires, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Let's talk about it. What? I'm just doing a radio segue. Listen,
I didn't say you were wrong.
Can I be perfectly honest? I don't think Marjorie Taylor Greene's a bad person. I don't. I think she was helpful for the Trump administration to a certain extent until she stopped being helpful.
Yeah.
And I feel like she stopped being helpful when Trump said there's no way that you're going to win senator in Georgia, and there's no way you're going to win governor in Georgia. Marjorie Taylor Greene had aspirations that were a bit too big for what she could deliver. I think that's where a lot of this issue came from. And so now she's stepping down, resigning. Okay. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene on X just a couple days ago.
Hi, everyone. I've always represented the common American man and woman as a member of the House of Representatives, which is why I've always been despised in Washington, D.C., and just never fit in. Americans are used by the political industrial complex of both political parties, election cycle after election cycle, in order to elect whichever side can convince Americans to hate the other side more. And the results are always the same. No matter which way the political pendulum swings, Republican or Democrat, nothing ever gets better for the common American man or woman. The debt goes higher, corporate and global interests remain Washington's sweethearts, American jobs continue to be replaced, whether it's by illegal labor or legal labor by visas or just shipped overseas. Small businesses continue to be swallowed by big corporations. Americans' hard-earned tax dollars always fund foreign wars, foreign aid, and foreign interest. And the spending power of the dollar continues to decline.
She says a lot of things that are true. She's clearly reading a statement. You can watch it in the video, the way her eyes move. It doesn't feel like it's from the heart. It feels like it was pre-prepared and written. She goes on to say that she has one of the most conservative voting records in Congress, that she defended the First and the Second Amendment, the rights of the unborn, criticized Republican Party for decreasing majority in the government shutdown, which lasted 43 days. Yet here she is resigning from Congress, decreasing the Republican majority. Weird. She said she can't continue to be bullied and she doesn't want to fight anymore. And I'm like, okay, bye. She talks about illegal alien labor. Yet there are other clips of her out there defending illegal aliens. She's got a construction company, you know. I'm of the opinion that Marjorie Taylor Greene sticks her finger into the air to see which way the wind is blowing. And we have example after example of this. I mean, let's not forget that she saved Kevin McCarthy in the first battle to oust him as speaker. And she did that for committee assignments because she wanted to build up her street cred so that way she could find herself in a position to become the senator or become the governor of Georgia. It was never going to work out. She can act all high and mighty now and how, oh, it's two wings of the same bird, it's the uniparty, but the reality of the situation is she's salty that Trump sent her poll numbers that said she wouldn't win because she is the QAnon Jewish space laser congressperson from the state of Georgia. She's tried a lot to rehab that image. She's done a decent enough job, but she's gone off the deep end as of late. And I just don't buy what she's selling. Is she going to gear up for a presidential run in 2028? That's what a lot of conversation is online. Maybe that's the case. Maybe she's just tired of the BS. Maybe she wants to be able to go to Walmart and buy underwear again without being harassed. I mean, listen, that's a real thing. Like, people don't understand how much you lose by being such a public figure, and you lose a lot. Fame to the point of imprisonment, right? And it's not a fun situation to be in. And maybe that weighed into her decision as well. I'm not going to pretend that I know what Marjorie Taylor Greene is thinking, but I'm not going to pretend that we're losing some valued, esteemed member of Congress either. Nobody takes her serious. Nobody took her serious. Nobody on the Democrat side, nobody on the conservative side. When did anyone ever take Marjorie Taylor Greene serious? When did Marjorie Taylor Greene ever put a win on the board that we can point to and be like, if it wasn't for MTG, there's none. Spoiler alert. Oh, this is because she went against Trump on the Epstein files. No, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Lauren Boebert also went against Trump on the Epstein files. He didn't hammer her. Nancy Mace went against Trump on the Epstein files. He didn't hammer her. Tim Burchett has been outspoken on the Epstein files. He didn't get hammered by President Trump either. Tim Burchett was on, I believe this was Fox News the other night. And Tim Burchett was asked about Marjorie Taylor Greene. It was Fox and Friends, excuse me. Fox and Friends. He's on with Fox and Friends. This is yesterday morning, I believe. Yesterday morning. On with Fox and Friends. And Tim Burchett is asked about Marjorie Taylor Greene. This is what he replied.
All right, Tim Burchett weighed in.
Do you think that there's room in the party for members who don't agree with the president on everything?
There's always room, ma'am. That's the difference between us and the Democrats. They use the, as I like to say, the stick and the carrot. They reward you with the carrot or they beat you over the head with the stick, and that's why they they always vote in unison, and they never would allow a bill up until they had all their people whipped into place or bought off legally, I guess, or whichever way they do it. They do it better behind closed doors, and we don't. We're vocal, and I think that's part of our strength. People are going to argue, or they're going to have differences, but I mean, President Trump's the biggest dog in the pound, ma'am, and you can take him on if you want, but the results are always the same.
That's Tim Burchett on it, and Tim Burchett has been outspoken on the Epstein files. Tim Burchett's outspoken on everything. Nancy Mace, Lauren Boebert, we can go on. But it wasn't over the Epstein files. The Epstein files was the straw that broke the camel's back. Marjorie Taylor Greene has been outspoken against the president pretty much this entire term, and while she thinks that she's winning, she's not. I mean, President Trump's popularity among conservatives right now, the highest versus Bush and Obama at this time in their second term as well. And there's no slowing down the Trump train right now.
So is the president losing Republicans? No. Look, this is still Donald Trump's Republican Party, and we can see it here.
It's like a rock, to quote Bob Seger. I mean, take a look here. Republicans who approve of Trump. 6 months ago, it was 87%. Now, well, hello, it's the same number. It's 87%. He has not lost any support among Republicans compared to 6 months ago. As I said at the beginning, he's like a rock. He's like a rock. The Republican base is sticking by Donald Trump at this point in time.
Why wouldn't we stick by him? I mean, there are things that you can criticize the president on, and we're open to doing so. But to say that we'd be better off with somebody else is just bovine scatology. The border is secure. Peace deals coming in. Ukraine, Russia might be done before Thanksgiving. The economy is seeing a resurgence, despite what the mainstream media wants you to think. And I do believe that the mainstream media is trying to drive us into a recession, trying to scare people into not spending their money. And for some, it's working. But we're seeing trillions upon trillions of dollars in investments coming into this country. We're seeing the reshoring of our manufacturing, and we're seeing deportations. All of this is going to help the American worker. Is it going to take a little time to bear fruit? Yes, absolutely. But to say that President Trump is not doing a good job or that we made a mistake voting for President Trump the way some say, I think is just, it's a miss. Marjorie Taylor Greene, though, could her dropout cause another shutdown? That's what Breitbart is reporting, because we're losing the majority. Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene's resignation from Congress could handicap Republicans in a critical period during which government funding expires, with dire consequences for the MAGA movement. Greene announced Friday evening she would resign from Congress on January 5th. With a full year remaining on her term, the surprise news sent Washington spinning over the weekend, projecting repercussions for the party's legislative agenda, given Republicans' razor-thin House majority. Greene and Trump's relationship dissolved this year, reportedly after Trump refused to back Greene in a statewide race for senator-governor. Georgia's 14th congressional district, held by Greene, is solidly Republican, and her replacement almost certainly will be a Republican. But the manner and timeline of her resignation has Washington and Georgia abuzz, questioning her motivations and gaming out the impact. Georgia law dictates within 10 days of a congressman's resignation, the state's governor must call a special election to take place after at least 30 days from the pronouncement. If no candidate wins a majority in the jungle election, a runoff with the top two vote getters takes place 28 days later. By prolonging her election, Greene all but assures her seat will be empty during a period of time in which Trump and Speaker Mike Johnson and the American people, dependent on a functioning federal government, may need every vote they can get. So even on her way out the door, she's thumbing her nose at Republicans, and this could hurt us. If Greene had resigned last week, Kemp could have immediately called a special election to take place on Tuesday, December 30th. That would mean even if there was a runoff 28 days after that, Greene's replacement could be seated the morning after the January 27th runoff, before the January 30th government funding deadline. By prolonging her resignation for a month and a half, it removes much of the urgency of scheduling a special election. Georgia political operatives project Kemp to set a date in March. So when we have another government shutdown here at the end of January, there's going to be one person that we can point to and say, this is her fault, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Though on the flip side of that, maybe, just maybe, it wakes Republicans up, lights a fire under them, and we can nuke the filibuster come January 30th. There could be a silver lining. But only time will tell. As far as Marjorie Taylor Greene goes, again, nothing of value was lost. 9:51, Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. Pete Hegseth speaking earlier. They've gathered all of the top generals in the entire world, brought them to Quantico and said, stop being fat and gay. Maybe I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but that's generally the message that we're getting.
No more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses. No more climate change worship. No more division, distraction, or gender delusions. No more debris. We are done with that shit. Standards must be uniform, gender neutral, and high. Frankly, it's tiring to look out at combat formations or really any formation and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon. But if the words I'm speaking today are making your heart sink, then you should do the honorable thing and resign.
Stop being so fat and so gay. Let's focus on the mission. If you can do the job, you're welcomed here. No matter your sexual orientation or your skin color, but we're getting back to merit.
Retail theft, it continues to spiral out of control, especially this time of year. Today, the frantic holiday season gets underway. We'll have a report. And early voting here in Tennessee for the December 2nd election, well, that ends tomorrow. We'll have that report as well. That's all coming up at 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Jay Harper in the newsroom. Mason Fleming is producing. My name is Chris Hand. You can find me on all the social media platforms that matter. Basically everything but Facebook, at Chris Hand on air, up to and including Blue Sky. I go to Blue Sky for a little bit of trolling. It's called We Do a Little Bit of Trolling. I have fun on Blue Sky. I do. 615-737-9986 if you want to join the show. On the way, AEW's star, Jeff Jarrett, is going to be joining us. He's a wrestler that is one of my faves. I hated him growing up. I can't wait to tell him how much I hated him. I didn't know I'd have this opportunity, but I'm gonna make the most of it. Trust me. I hated him at so many of his different jobs. He was in the WWF, hated him. He was in WCW, hated him. He went to NWA/TNA, still hated him. Still hated him. And then I realized, man, he's doing a good job.
Yeah, I was going to say, job well done.
Job well done. We're looking forward to that. And we're gonna have a fun conversation. So I'm looking forward to that. AEW's in town tomorrow night. A couple people texting in. Chuck texted in, and he said, Chris, do you have it in you to admit that Trump sometimes speaks and acts like a dictator? And I said, LOL, no, I don't. No, I don't. He said, do you have it in you to admit that Trump throws people under the bus if they criticize him? No, I don't. He throws people under the bus that are disloyal, and Marjorie Taylor Greene's been disloyal nonstop since he got into office. Marjorie Taylor Greene, do you have it in you to admit that she was Marjorie first, not America first? That when she was cutting deals to keep Kevin McCarthy as the speaker, that she didn't really care about the America First movement. She cared about Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think that means a lot more than anything else. I think it's always been Marjorie first. That's where I'm at. Hey, if you disagree, you're more than welcome to call into the show. 615-737-9986. We got a lot to get to. Jeff Jarrett's going to be joining us next. Then we got Josh Tifo coming in. Tifo Tuesdays. He said he sent me a text, and it's just a picture. He sent me a picture of an angry Aftyn Behn with her arms crossed, and he said, "Let's discuss this at length." Absolutely. And I don't know. There's no context. Just an angry Aftyn Behn staring at me in my text messages.
I'm excited.
Personally, I think angry Aftyn Behn is my favorite Aftyn Behn.
New emoji reaction.
If she's not angry, we're not winning. Make Aftyn angry again. December 2nd, 10 o'clock. Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's 10 a.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. Hang on. We've got that Thanksgiving forecast coming up. For the first time in history, retail sales for November and December in both physical stores and online are expected to drop $1 trillion. Unfortunately, though, ABC's Jim Ryan says that scammers have figured out how to transform the season of giving into a frenzy of theft.
You've begun your holiday shopping when an ad for the perfect gift crosses your social media feed. Click the link and be taken to the seller's website. Maybe.
Cybercriminals create these very deceptive marketplaces for toys and presents.
Former FBI cybersecurity expert Eric O'Neill says the ad on your feed could be fake, so
look at the company that purports to be selling it and go directly to their website.
The Better Business Bureau says online purchase scams are among the most common reported by consumers.
Today, an extremely busy travel day for the Thanksgiving holiday. ABC's Gio Benitez reports.
90% of people will be driving. That's 73 million of you. The busiest days today, tomorrow, and Sunday. The worst time to hit the road today is between noon and 9 p.m. Tomorrow, you're going to want to get going before 11 a.m. And here's another big number for you. 1.2 million people will be taking a train.
Back here in Middle Tennessee, early voting for Tennessee's 7th Congressional District special election wraps up tomorrow. Election Day is Tuesday, December 2nd, and 6 candidates are on the ballot. Democrat Aftyn Behn, she went on MS Now, which used to be called MSNBC, and was confronted about her old tweets about defunding the police.
Once again, I don't remember these tweets, but what I'm saying is that
I'm not asking you if you remember. What is your position today? How's that on this issue?
I mean, I'm here to talk about my race, which is in literally 9 days.
Nearly 50,000 voters have already cast ballots to decide who will replace former Congressman Mark Green. That's the latest news. We've got weather on the way. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
It's 10:05 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Very excited about the guest I have in studio because I have to be honest with you. I hated you for the majority of my life.
I hated you too, Chris. But no, we won't. Let's started off on the right foot here.
I hated you in the WWF. I hated you in WCW. I hated you in TNA. And then when you got to AEW, I went, wow, this guy's actually really been good at his job for many, many years. I think that's what's going on. I think he's just that damn good. Jeff Jarrett is in studio.
Appreciate you having me on, my man. We were just chatting as you let us in the building, chatting a little bit Lowell, Massachusetts. Way back in the day. That takes me back a few years to be candid with you. But no, a lot of times I've been on your sister station. It's been a while since I've been on Super Talk. So it is an honor and a pleasure. And we're not going to talk politics.
No.
We're not going to talk religion.
No.
But I was always taught by my grandmother, don't ever argue about three things: politics, religion, or wrestling. So if you want to argue about wrestling, we can, but we're here to talk about AEW rolling into town tomorrow night.
Yeah, we're excited to have you guys in town. I'm taking the boys.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm taking my boys. We're gonna get down there. They are 8 and 6.
Oh, perfect.
So it's they're hooked.
Yeah,
we've done a couple shows for the birthdays, and they love it.
Oh, good.
So we don't watch it every week on TV, but when the live shows come to town, we're in.
Saddle up, because tomorrow night we're doing 2 hours live. Be Around the World on TBS, starts at 7 o'clock, and also on HBO Max. Literally a global show. But right after that, right after we go off the air, because it's the holiday weekend, we're going to be filming 2 hours of Collision that will air on Saturday. So if you want to be on TV and then go home over the Thanksgiving weekend, watch yourself on TV Saturday, you can. So we're doing Dynamite and Collision. Huge global taping. So very cool. New venue. Have you been in the Pinnacle?
I have not been in the Pinnacle.
Look, I'm a lifer. You're just here. You're a new Nashvilleian. You said 2017. I've born and raised here.
Yes, sir.
So, but no, the Pinnacle. Man, I've heard nothing but awesome things. Cool venue, brand new, first professional wrestling show. So a little history is going to be made tomorrow night. A lot of wrestling history in this town, Chris.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you're a big part of it.
I don't know about that. But no, Thanksgiving and professional wrestling in Nashville literally has been around before I'm coming up on my 40th year in the business, Chris. So a few Thanksgivings have been spent right down the street at the Nashville Sports Arena. We used to be a tradition. Before your time, before you came to town. But no, we used to have wrestling either on a Wednesday night, sometimes Thursday night, actually on Thanksgiving night or Saturday night. So it has been a holiday tradition, and I'm certainly, when I saw this on the calendar, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 months ago that we were going to be coming, maybe longer than that, I was pretty psyched that, I get to go to my bed tomorrow night after the show.
That's nice.
Not last couple of years I've woke up in Chicago on Thanksgiving Day and flown home. But no, I'll get an early start Thursday morning on the turkey and the prime rib and all kinds of cooking and grilling. But we get our wrestling on Wednesday night.
Let's go. So this is one thing I was thinking about. You guys spend hundreds of days on the road a year, especially at your peak. So you got to have some times where you're doing Thanksgiving and you're on the road.
Oh, boy.
So do you have any, I'm picturing like a guy like Yokozuna sitting having Thanksgiving with him or the Hulkster. Tell me some of the Thanksgiving stories from you and the boys on the road.
The one that always kind of pops off, because if you know Kevin Nash, you know, big sexy founder of the NWO, Diesel, whatever you want to call it. He's been around a long time. But it was 1994 Thanksgiving, and we were doing the grind there, 10 days on, 3 days off, 4 days on, 3 days off was kind of the rotation.
Which is insane.
It was a little tough one. So we were out in the middle of a 10-day run because we used to do Raw on Mondays. Anyway, tape Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And so we were in Pittsburgh. We had finished up, and so we woke up at the Holiday Inn on Thanksgiving Day, 1994, in Pittsburgh Holiday Inn, and I'll never forget Kevin texting and saying, let's go find a gym. Okay, so we actually did find a gym, and it was packed, which is Thanksgiving Day, all that. Came back, and we were off. So we did not have a show on Thanksgiving. We were off on the road. And I just never forget looking across the table at Kevin, and he's like, Happy Turkey Day. And I said, well, this is a first. I've never spent Thanksgiving on the road on an off day, but no, there's kind of unique ones. But for the most part, my first 7 years in the business in this territory, working for my family's promotion, we were either wrestling at the fairgrounds, and there were quite a few, Chris, you'll like this. I spent, 4 or 5 of these that I would drive down to Jackson and have a 2:00 show at the Jackson Arena, and then drive back to Nashville and wrestle twice on Thanksgiving. So in those days, you didn't have any real meals on Thanksgiving. You were in a car, and we would celebrate Thanksgiving usually on that following Sunday. But yeah, those are the days. That's part of this industry.
How much has the industry changed? I mean, you got your start in '87. And then you've worked for every major company there is. I think you're one of the only guys that has held a major championship in all of the main companies. What is the biggest change that you've seen in the industry?
Oh, boy. That is a big blanket statement. There's a lot. I mean, the thing that I always lean back into is that when I broke in, it was still, April of '86, to correct you. Didn't break in '87, but I'll let you slide on that. But anyway, no, it was the very beginning of cable television. And so, kids today can't even relate to it. But the way that the business developed from the territory days to basically, we'll call it a national stage, cable television, and then it morphed into, even in the 90s, we were touring globally, but, TV was in Germany and the UK and Israel and all this, but there was no such thing as really a global property because every show was, in its own market. And then as the years come on, now we're in the streaming age and YouTube and, back in the day, if you got on TV 4 or 5 minutes a week, that's how the only exposure you got to your fan base. Now with TikTok, Instagram, X, YouTube, you can literally cultivate and communicate with your audience 24/7, 365 days a year. So the business has radically changed on the way you can communicate with our audience, and I think that is a huge positive. And you kind of look at professional wrestling as a whole, our social media footprint globally, there's, I'll say this with all due respect to all the sports leagues and everything else, nothing, when I tell you this, nothing comes even a close second to our total footprint. It is professional wrestling. And, I say this with a lot of respect that our current president is in the exact same Hall of Fame that I'm in. And I say that the only reason I say that is, and it's a little politics on 99.7 here, but it's the pop culture element. You watch a Monday Night Football game last night, you're going to see a professional wrestling analogy or something come in. You're going to, politicians, I think they take a page directly out of professional wrestling in their speaking skills. And it's
funny you say that. One of the reasons why I think I was drawn to politics is because I grew up with a love for wrestling. Where I would say, and I said this earlier in the show, I said there's something happening on the screen, but there's something far more interesting happening behind the scenes.
Oh, for sure.
And that's politics.
For sure. And look, you're much more educated, and I don't want to, in the political, because that, literally as a young child, vote. My dad, they weren't political folks because you got to vote for the person. It was a business, and so but that is the one thing that you look at things going on right now with I don't want to get into it, but the Ukraine and Russia. Like, what's really going on behind the scenes?
Yeah, I'd love to know.
Yeah, wouldn't we all like the different things when you? I call it peeling the layers of the onion back. But our industry is one of those things that I think at the very core of professional wrestling that the wrestling fan is attracted in that, look, they know, the whole world has known for generations, not, back in the 60s, when it was real. No, it wasn't. It was just as much a sports entertainment property in the 60s as it is today.
Are you telling me that wrestling is not... Hit the breaking news sounder. Can you hit the breaking news sounder?
This is a breaking news update on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Jeff Jarrett has just broken kayfabe here.
Well, listen, Chris. Look, I'm letting the cat out of the bag. It's holiday season, but Santa is on the way. I promise you that.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not going to dispel
How
all
do you feel about the Tooth Fairy?
Oh, shoot. He came to my house.
Huge fan.
I got 5 kids. You know how many times Tooth Fairy's been in my house?
Let's go.
I'm not a fan of the Tooth Fairy, to be honest with you.
The Tooth Fairy the other night at my house apparently was running late, and the Tooth Fairy dropped to 20 because he didn't have time to go make change.
You know what? It happens these days. Tooth Fairy's on Venmo now, but that's another thing. But no, at the very core of what we do is that illusion. Like what all went into this? I'll say this, that, walking in the halls here, I got to give a shout out. God rest his soul, Frank Wycheck, dear personal friend. But, he was you name it, Super Bowl All-Pro tight end. But he actually wrestled for us back in the day. And I'll never forget him walking through the curtain saying, that may be the most fun I've ever had, but I cannot tell you how exhausted I am. And this is about 10 or 15 minutes after he came through, laid on the carpet in the backstage area. Wrestling is just really unique in that we don't have seasons. We're 52 weeks a year. Obviously, it's the soap opera and the episodic nature that everybody knows about. But it's just, we got a little bit of Broadway in us, a little bit of a sitcom, a little bit of a blockbuster movie. Obviously, it's very, very sports and physical and all that. But there's just something about it, that the magic we make, that, nowadays you look at it, that professional wrestling, we're on HBO Max. It's seen on Peacock. It's seen on Netflix. It's seen on ESPN. It's seen on, the YouTube numbers. It continues to grow.
When you were coming up and you're still in your early years, did you think that it would reach this point of mass exposure where it would be woven into that American fabric?
I feel very blessed and lucky that, I'm third generation. So I got to hear the conversations with my father, who was a territory promoter, and my grandmother, and they, just kind of talked about the evolution of it. They taught me at a, early age. My grandmother used to joke and say, who watches us? And she would be talking to business people, actually politicians, or having to go to, Chamber of Commerce meeting. But, the conversations between my father and my grandmother and others were the only people that watch wrestling are the masses. In that they knew and they opened my eyes to it, that there's doctors and lawyers and bankers. It's, it sometimes wrestling gets the 4-letter word and the stigma and, oh, it's fake, it's this, it's that, all that. But you know what? Look at the numbers. The ratings have never lied. They've always done massive, massive ratings. To this day, you go look at cable television, top 10 shows of the week. Yes, news is way up in there in this environment we have, but it's always in a top 10 in cable ratings. Like I said, the social media stats. So it has a very broad appeal. Yes, it's not for everybody, but so isn't football for everybody. So isn't hockey. Those things are much more niche than wrestling. So it is a mainstream deal, and that's something that as a kid, when I watched it grow, and you go into and see the stadium shows. We were just over at AEW. This summer we were out at Globe Life where the Texas Rangers play. Put 30,000 people out there. We set the record at Wembley Stadium,
which is unbelievable.
82,000 people. That's when you kind of start digesting those numbers. And look, we're on 4 hours a week on HBO Max. It's kind of staggering to look, but to me, professional wrestling doesn't stop. It doesn't slow down, and it keeps evolving.
Do you think we're entering a new golden age of professional wrestling? Because you'll have guys that are in my age group who go, this is nothing compared to the 90s. Yeah. But you've lived through both of these and in the late 80s during the Hulkamania stretch and all that. So you've seen all these different peaks, right? And the valleys as well. Are we entering a new golden age, or is it still missing something that we used to have in the 90s?
When you really look, me and you could go on a rabbit hole on this, because like you said, when it the late 70s, early 80s were a gigantic boom, but on a territorial basis.
Right.
In this territory, I could go into the history of that. And then it went to the Hulkamania years and Rocky III and Hulk and all that. Then it a little ebbed down and then went back to an Attitude Era. Wrestling, and I've learned this from, maybe a 4-letter word, but Vince McMahon and others. But look, wrestling's it's always been just a step ahead of pop culture. A lot of people get their feathers ruffled by that, but that's really the nature of it. And now, you can kind of look at music and how music is broke and movies are broke. And, this phone in my hand right now candidly can shoot a movie, the quality and all the technology. So I think we're seeing an era, as I just mentioned, professional wrestling's on every streamer. We're in that kind of, I think, unique spot that it's going to settle. If you're kind of talking stock market, I think the market is all over the place in professional wrestling, but it's going to continue to grow and get bigger. The thing that kind of I throw back at you is that the way you guys, I'm saying sitting in your seat, the massive amount of news aggregators that you have to consume. How do you know good from bad? How do you know truth from not truth? And I don't want to say, but I've got kids, and one kid will send me something from a Candace Owens, one daughter will say, all the different,
right.
But so kind of to decipher, I think professional wrestling, there's wrestling Japan, Australia, United States, all over the world. So the fan can consume that much more. I'm curious to see what cream rises to the top.
I like it.
How do you, sitting in your seat, how do you figure out what you want to call the truth and not the truth?
For me, about 90% of what I judge on is vibes and energy.
Okay.
And
I would have never thought that'd be the case.
Really?
Because in professional wrestling, I was taught, listen, you have to have an ear for it. And like to this day, I go listen to a wrestling crowd. I think I'm hearing something different from most people, because you have to hear that vibe and energy. Like, are these people responding to violence? Are they responding to athleticism? Or are they responding to the emotion of, I really like this guy, or I really hate this guy?
But that's kind of being in tune with that vibe and that energy of the audience.
I'm impressed, but I do. I think there is so much to that, in that when you listen to a wrestling audience, it's easy to get a response if you can do 3 backflips and, oh, that was great, or some type of violent maneuver, all that. But if they're responding with their heart and emotion and really dialed into the storyline, that to me is where, okay, it connected emotionally with the audience. You're saying the same thing.
Yeah, we're speaking the same language. Jeff Jarrett is in studio, AEW wrestler. He's one of the best. I hated him. Loathed this guy.
I love it.
I've been so excited to tell you how much I hated you. I can't tell you enough. I really did.
I hope your kids are listening to you. Dad said he hated a guy on air.
It wouldn't be the first time. So, who did you hate wrestling?
Oh, boy.
Because there's got to be a couple guys in there. I mean, with the career that you've had, and don't give me a guy like Bastion Booger. Give me a name. Who did you hate wrestling?
Oh, hate wrestling.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's a business. So some that, when you step into the ring knowing, okay, this is something that's a part of, work, so to speak, then you got your work cut out. I always kind of took challenges head on. Kurt Angle was a guy that I loved to hate to work with him. He was a machine.
He's stiff.
Scott Steiner, not stiff, very, 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 very aggressive. Scott Steiner, one of my best friends, got together. Me and him were buds since the late 80s. Getting in the ring with him, you knew that you were going to be tossed around. So I can't say I hated it. You just had a different mindset. Mongo McMichael, legendary Hall of Fame football player, also professional wrestling. He's one of the strongest guy. He wasn't a real trained pro. So you had to always be on guard, because he wouldn't clean your clock and not really mean to. But boy, so I could go down a list of opponents like that. But no, as far as hate, I thought you were going to say as a kid. This is people in this area will know Jerry the King Lawler. So
oh yeah,
he's
Memphis.
My dad's business partner. But me watching him as a kid, and I'm talking about as a preteen, man, when he was a heel, a bad guy. I think that's why I came to really not like him and then love him, just to his skill set. But boy, oh boy, he could push the right buttons.
Oh, and he was one of the best commentators of all time. He revolutionized the color game.
Yes.
Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Huge fan of Jerry Lawler. All right, so it's cliche at this point, but I do have to ask you.
What you got?
Your Mount Rushmore of pro wrestlers.
That always kind of ebbs and flows. in so many ways, because I always have to say, all right, let's talk generations, but then I get pinned down. I do a podcast, new one comes out every Tuesday. We're live today on YouTube at 5, so I'll get that quick.
What's the name of your podcast?
My World with Jeff Jarrett.
Okay, perfect.
On YouTube. Yeah,
I'm subscribing. I'm going to hit like and I'm going to hit subscribe.
That's my guy right there. But no, you cannot have a Mount Rushmore without Hulk. And I don't think you can really have a Mount Rushmore without John Cena, who's going through his retirement here. A lot of longevity. When you start drilling down into it, you got Flair, you got Austin, you got Rock. You got Undertaker. I think Undertaker had but then you kind of get into the generational stars. And see, Chris, I could really get in a rabbit hole here because it's hard to imagine the industry without Sting. Yep. And I think Sting had an incredible run. He's like a Babe Ruth for WCW and then here at AEW. So
and he's one of the only other guys like you that had some time in every major company.
He did, and very, very successful everywhere he turned. So I think you got to put Sting on there. So if I'm nailed to it, I got to go Hogan and Sting, probably Flair and Cena.
Who's up next? Who's the newcomers that you look at and you go, man, that kid's got something?
Oh boy, Will Ospreay.
He's a beast.
His athletic ability. I told the story earlier this morning that I always love. I'm a basketball junkie, and I always love to hear Bobby Knight's interview about Michael Jordan. And he was so plain and simple. He just said, he's the best basketball player I've ever seen. Well, why? Because he's the best. His athletic ability puts him far above everybody else, and it's tenacious.
It's funny you bring up the basketball thing because I got a text here from 2237 that says Jarrett was a pretty good high school basketball player at Good Pasture in Madison. I think he even played some junior college ball.
I did. Aquinas here in town. Yeah, my claim to fame is I played out at Aquinas, and immediately when I left, they won the national championship. So I primed them for that. But no. What were we saying?
Who's up next? Will
Ospreay. His athletic ability, I think, puts him just a step above everybody else. There's several other out there on the rise, and MJF is very good. But those guys, I think, to be the best, you got to put in years and to really do the grind. I think that's one of the things about wrestling. I think you got to get into about at least year 8, year 10 before you're going to figure out, all right, what kind of longevity is this guy going to have?
Takes you a decade to be an overnight success.
Bingo.
Yep.
It's that simple.
Jeff Jarrett, the last outlaw. He is going to be in Nashville tomorrow night with AEW. Tickets are still available.
AEW Tix, that's TIX. AEWTix.com. Get them now. Pinnacle, brand new venue. I heard some opening acts like Eric Church and Paul McCartney have been out there. So the main event's going to roll in. No, I'm kidding.
Let's go.
Pinnacle,
right,
baby.
Will you join me tomorrow night to boo Jeff Jarrett at the AEW show? We're very cordial right now, but we're bringing an anti-Jeff Jarrett sign. I'm going to have my boys yelling at you. Oh, we're going to go as hard as we can to just boo you mercilessly.
When I pull the guitar out, I hope you grab your 6-year-old and put 6-year-old as a shield.
I'm going to use him as a shield.
And I'll hit him too.
I know you will. Just don't call him slap nuts. All right,
got to. You're bringing both your slap nuts tomorrow.
Let's go. Jeff Jarrett, thanks for coming by,
Thank
man.
you, man.
Really appreciate
you.
Anytime.
Enjoyed the chat. Really
anytime.
Did.
God bless. It's 10:29. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It is 31 minutes past the hour of 10 a.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We'll get you your Thanksgiving forecast here in just a bit. In the war in Ukraine, a heavy Russian missile barrage, it struck Kiev overnight after U.S. and Ukrainian negotiators announced that they had hammered out a framework, at least, for a possible peace deal. Here's ABC's Ian Pinnell in Kiev with the latest.
2 days of high-stakes talks in Geneva and Abu Dhabi. Overnight, the U.S. announcing Army Secretary Dan Driscoll met with a Russian delegation in Abu Dhabi Monday to present an updated version of President Trump's peace plan that was negotiated over the weekend with Ukraine. Driscoll continuing talks with the Russians today.
The Pentagon threatening to court-martial Senator and retired astronaut Mark Kelly for recording that video with 5 other Democratic lawmakers that concerns military members following orders that are deemed illegal. ABC's Luis Martinez with Kelly's response.
Kelly is really responding with tough language. He's essentially saying, look, I flew combat missions over Iraq. I flew space shuttle missions. I commanded space shuttle missions. My wife, who represented at the time was Representative Gabby Giffords, was shot in an act of gunshot violence. And he has essentially given so much of his life, he says, to protecting and upholding the Constitution of the United States. Essentially, he's laying out a really tough line here that he is going to fight this.
Prosecutors on New York's Long Island say they've broken up a ring of porch pirates, people who hacked into the FedEx delivery system to track when and where packages would show up. We've got more now from ABC's Aaron Katursky, who says the electronics and cell phones were especially targeted.
Officials releasing videos they say show the alleged pattern. A FedEx employee drops off a box, and moments later, a thief swipes it and flees in a waiting car. The stolen phones were allegedly taken to a stash house in the Bronx in garbage bags before they were resold in the United States and internationally. Investigators say they recovered more than 200 mobile phones and tens of thousands of dollars in cash.
That is the latest news. Weather is on the way. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friend Shane Ring over at Cover Nash. And if you need some health insurance, you need to call a guy you can trust. You need to call a guy that's going to break everything down for you in a simple way that you can understand it, because the insurance companies want it to be confusing on purpose, and it's infuriating. Shane Ring at Cover Nash is going to break it all down for you with no waiting and no gimmicks. If you missed open enrollment, Cover Nash has you covered. You lost your job, Cover Nash has you covered. If you're just sick of overpriced junk insurance, talk to Shane Ring over at Cover Nash. They partner with over 75 top-rated insurance companies, including brand-new nationwide PPO options with deductibles as low as $50, flat $50 doctor visits, ACA-compliant plans, free preventative care, plans for individuals, families, self-employed folks, even small businesses. If this sounds like something you need, call Shane Ring today. Stop overpaying. Stop waiting. Stop thinking you're stuck. 615-465-0023. That's 615-465-0023. Get some health insurance on your terms, not the government's. CoverNash.com. J.D. Vance descended upon Union Station in Washington, D.C. today, and he was met with some unhinged leftist protesters.
You big f***ing Nazis! In housing! In climate justice!
Now, there's a couple ways that you can deal with radical leftist lunatics, but I want to highlight the method that J.D. chose today. This method is, of course, the all-encompassing point and laugh.
This is the guy who thinks people don't deserve law and order in their own community.
Like and subscribe for more tips on how to deal with unhinged leftist lunatics out in the wild. This has been brought to you by our friends at Zero Res Nashville. If you need your carpets cleaned, go to ZeroResNashville.com.
Selling your home can be stressful, but it doesn't have to be. Get a guaranteed offer from Marks Payne Real Estate. There are no showings, no open houses, no stress. Work with the #1 real estate team in the U.S. and close with confidence. Go to markspayne.com today.
It's 10:38 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Shout out to Jeff Jarrett, AEW wrestler. It's wrestling extraordinaire coming through. Can't wait to boo him tomorrow night. I'm going to boo him with even more vigor. I'm going to bring the most anti-Jeff Jarrett sign. And then he's going to look at me. I'm going to give him a thumbs up. Like, what's up, dude?
You know, they always say never meet your heroes, but you really seem to be enjoying that one.
Dude, I was very excited to have Jeff Jarrett in the studio, not going to lie.
Really? I couldn't tell.
Yep. John texted and he said, great interview. It's fun to watch Chris fanboy for a bit. I was. Total fan. Yeah, huge geek. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I am a wrestling nerd.
Just a little bit.
And I love it. And there's nothing that you can tell me that will change my mind. My wife tries to. She's like, are we really doing this again? I'm like, yeah. We are. It's the night for wrestling. She goes, you know that this is just the Real Housewives with chairs and tables. So, okay. And if the Real Housewives had chairs and tables, maybe I'd be a little bit more interested.
Yeah, it would make more sense to watch.
Let's be just realistic about it. If they were power bombing each other from the tops of cages, yeah, I would find it a bit more fascinating.
Oh, absolutely.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It would make it a better show. Somebody should tell their producers. Take a note.
Yeah, we had one of the Real Housewives dive bomb off the roof.
Yeah, swanton bomb through a table. The table was on fire. Everything's fine.
They're fine.
Everybody's going to be fine. No, I'm excited, man. Jeff Jarrett, great guy. Really nice guy. Really nice guy. So thanks for coming through, man. Appreciate you. If you missed the interview, we'll podcast it.
Yeah, it'll be up.
Everybody, I didn't realize we had so many wrestling fans in the audience.
Yeah, big wrestling fan audience.
Man, we got a huge wrestling fan. So we got a lot of people are mad that I didn't ask him about the finger poke on when Jeff Jarrett just laid down in front of him, in front of Hulk Hogan. Do you remember that? Mason's like, I don't watch wrestling.
I don't, unfortunately.
It was a big deal. Larry wanted to know about it. I missed your text, Larry. I would have asked him. I'm sorry. It's a little bit too giddy to
caught in the moment.
Pay much attention to the super text line. It's like,
yeah. Chris was up 7 hours last night prepping questions for today's show.
I was like, you remember that time you were in WWF? That was awesome.
No information needed. Just, yeah, that was cool.
Do you remember that time you won the championship? That was awesome.
He's just sitting over you. Yeah, Chris, I know. I was
just channeling my inner Chris Farley.
So good. So good.
Sometimes I got to do things for me. Sometimes I got to listen. They reached out to me, and I didn't even finish the email. I was like, yes.
What do you see first? Did you see AEW or did you see Jeff Jarrett?
I saw Jeff Jarrett's. Well, I saw AEW, but it was like, hey, would you like to have AEW's Jeff Jarrett in? Yes. Local guy too, man.
Yeah.
Local guy. Shout out to Jeff Jarrett. Big fan.
Legend.
The last outlaw.
Hated across all of Tennessee for the right reasons.
You would be proud of me, though, because like when I introduced him, I almost went full 90s WWF and went JEFF,
Bro, Chris this morning was telling me the title for the YouTube chat.
Yeah, I
the
did.
show,
I did it.
And he did it there, and I was like, what are you talking about?
I was like, you don't remember how he was introduced by the roadie in like 1995 in WWF? You're not picking up what I'm putting down?
To be fair, Chris was talking to me and Sam was talking to me, and it was a little bit of a mess. But,
Sam was being very disrespectful.
Rude.
Very disrespectful. All right, so all right. Whew, I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, deep breaths. There we go.
It's weird too, because it's not like I met my hero. Like I met a guy that I hated as a kid.
Yeah.
Loathed the guy.
Met a man you respect.
He was great. He's a good bad guy. Huge fan. All right. So a lot of people are commenting on the text line saying, yes, the Real Housewives would be far better with tables and chairs.
Oh, absolutely.
Everybody knows it.
Yeah.
It's time to stop pretending.
Yeah. The tables and chairs don't need to be set for this dinner party.
Congress would also be better with tables and chairs. We used to have a respectable Congress where they would fight each other and beat each other with canes.
Bro, imagine Chuck Schumer.
Chuck
flying through the air.
It's a flying elbow from the top. By God, he's broken in half.
He's going for the house.
If you are going to have a Royal Rumble with politicians, who wins? Who wins? That's hard. I mean, there's a lot of good choices.
Your top three.
I mean, if I'm gonna be favorable towards our Tennessee guys, I think Burchett would be. He'd be a dog in there.
I was
leaning
towards him.
Burchett would be a dog. Desjardins with the medical background, he'd be like a submission tactician. Like he would know where to strike. There'd be a lot of good ones.
I was ready for a lot of the Dems just flailing around like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with my hands.
What's going on?
There would be a lot of easy wins that we could rack up.
Knox County Mayor Glenn Jacobs.
Thank you.
Let's go.
The choke slam.
Of course, Ken comes in with the real wrestler that would actually win. Ken's like, you guys are all wrong.
Although you're right about Desjardins, man. He knows the points.
He would know the pressure points. I will say this. Chuck Grassley would just be dominated. And I like Chuck. He's just a bit too old. Just a little bit. There would be many more broken hips than there would be championships won.
The Oklahoma Congressman Mark Wayne.
Mullen.
Yeah, Mark Wayne Mullen, man, MMA.
He would be a beast. I wouldn't want to fight him.
No.
There'd be a few that I would absolutely sign up to fight, and there would be a few I'd be like, I'm going to call security. This is not going to go well. like Chuck Schumer, I would absolutely fight him. I wouldn't be afraid at all.
He'd put his glasses on before you punch him.
Tim Burchett, I like the guy.
Dadgummit.
He looks like he has the ability to fight dirty.
Well, yeah, he's a country
boy. You know
boy.
what I mean?
He's a country boy.
Yeah.
And we saw what happened when Kevin McCarthy elbowed him in the back and then ran away. He chased him down.
Yeah.
He's like, get back here.
Get back here, Kevin.
I'm in danger.
That's what Kevin McCarthy thought. That's what he thought.
I love that.
It's the best.
It's so good.
It's the best. Ken Weaver's in the building. Ken, how are you, man?
I'm doing good. How are you boys?
Man, we're doing good. We're doing good. It's a fun day. If anybody's just joining, thank you again for all of your help, all of your support yesterday at the Radiothon with the Nashville Rescue Mission.
Boys were out there busy, man.
Man, it was such a great day. The people at the Nashville Rescue Mission, they do that work every single day.
Yes.
So for us to stop down for 12 hours, it's the least we can do. And we're just blessed to be a small part of what they do every single day in the community, leading with Christ, fighting homelessness, fighting addiction, really going places where a lot of people don't want to go.
Yes, sir.
And so shout out to them. Shout out to everybody that donated. We appreciated it. Hey, did you know that Doge is actually back?
Oh. Uh-oh.
Did you hear this? This is pretty wild. The Department of Government Efficiency is back after Reuters claimed that they were disbanding. Doge, their official Twitter account, actually jumped in the fray with this and called it fake news. Reuters posted a story saying exclusive. Doge doesn't exist with 8 months left on its charter. The official Doge account tweeted out, as usual, this is fake news from Reuters. President Trump was given a mandate by the American people to modernize the federal government and reduce waste, fraud, and abuse. Just last week, Doge terminated 78 wasteful contracts and saved taxpayers $335 million. We'll be back in a few days with our regularly scheduled Friday updates. Sign me up. We all understand that the most popular this administration was at peak Doge. Peak Doge time. Everybody loved what was happening with the federal government. Tim Burchett has spoken about this ad nauseum. We were just talking about Tim Burchett, a guy that nobody really wants to fight. And he said that Elon Musk and Doge was run out of town by both parties.
And Elon Musk had it right. And that's why I think both parties shunned themselves from him, because he said, hey, those NGOs, the money flows right back to Washington. And he told me, he said, I think it flows in the pockets of politicians. I mean, you had the ranking member of the committee I serve on that went through the bill to defund the Taliban, which, still waiting in the Senate for them to pass it. All kinds of confusion over there. They're fighting over the NGOs. The money, he told me the money flows right from your pockets to the dadgum NGOs. The NGOs, the money comes right back to Washington in the form of dark money and in the pockets of politicians. That's why you're seeing Republicans go squishy on NGOs, because they're shady as hell. They all are. I mean, if you're involved in it, they are. Not everybody up here is. Some of them are just willing idiots. They just go along to get along, so they know that they'll get their crumbs, and they don't really ask where they come from.
Do you think that that's what Elon found, and that's why he was run out of the city?
That's my theory. That's my theory, ultimately. I think he was getting too close. I don't know if he found the specifics yet, but I'd say he was right on it. He was right on it.
Well, Elon may have been run out, but it does look like Doge is back. Again, they were hitting back against fake news. Post Millennial has a story saying that they haven't been dissolved and announced new cuts to government waste. This was last night. The Department of Government Efficiency said that the Reuters report was fake news and that more news on waste and fraud cuts were incoming. I'm here for it. I think we need to get back to this. The mission of Doge is a popular mission, not just among conservatives, but also independents and Democrats. We all saw the wasteful money. It was going to transgender operas in, Colombia. We had DEI musicals in Ireland. We had a transgender comic book in, was it Uruguay or Paraguay? Either way, not a fan. Not a fan at all. And we saw this over and over and over again. Tons of money being wasted. We're $38 trillion in debt. We need to get a handle on this. And Doge was welcomed with open arms by the American people, not by the Democrats, not by the Republicans, but by we, the people. And we need to get back that. Doge posted a contract update to social media on Sunday, revealing that over the last 9 days, the agencies had terminated $1.9 billion. That was one of their last updates on July 4th. And we need to get back to that. Oh, I'm sorry. No, that was from November 23rd. $1.9 billion in savings. $1.9 billion cut. Savings of $335 million. Doge is back, and I hope that they go as hard as humanly possible. It's 10:51. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Today is a big day for our guys over at Busy Bee. They're doing a coat drive in Lebanon, and they're going to be collecting your gently used coats today from 3 to 6 p.m. at 7 Cedars Butcher Block on the Lebanon Square. This is a huge deal. If you're in a position where you can donate a gently used coat, it's going to make a huge difference for somebody this holiday season. Please consider doing that. Today, they're at 7 Cedars Butcher Block on Lebanon Square from 3 to 6 p.m. Maybe you're not close to Lebanon. Maybe you're on the Mount Juliet side. Well, on Sunday, November 30th, 2 to 4 p.m., they're doing another coat drive in the Mount Juliet Chamber of Commerce parking lot. So if you got a gently used coat, you got a new coat you want to donate, please think about doing that with Busy Bee HVAC. Also, you got family coming over for the holidays. Take advantage of their 93 or free main line opening special. They're either going to clear your main line for $93 or it's free to you. This is a November-only deal. It's a smart way to keep things running smooth before the holiday. You can call them today, and you can take advantage of this deal before family shows up on Thursday, 615-775-7833. That's the number to call, 615-775-7833, or find them online, busybeehvac.com.
All right, drivers, they are still cleaning up that semi-fire that is off on the right shoulder there, 24 westbound at I-440. I drove by that thing. I think that was a truck full of beer that burned.
Wait, really? We were talking about it earlier. We're trying to figure out what caught fire.
Yeah, it smelled like a bunch of hot beer.
Not the best way to drink it, for sure.
No, it's not. All right, got a powerful line of storms that might be messing up your Thanksgiving travel plans. We'll tell you about that and more at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. It is 10:56 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners. Mason, why do we need those?
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
It's a reason. BetterWater.com. Get yourself a water filter for Christmas. Josh Tifo's in studio. Tifo Tuesdays is back.
We're finally back again. Tifo Thursday felt a little weird. Tifo Tuesday, it's like all is right in the universe again.
It flows. There's a flow to it. What's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing great. We have a battle royale right here in Tennessee, and guess what? Another Christian conservative man is facing off against a complete psychopath. It's becoming a national theme here, but we get to experience it in our backyard.
Well, listen. I don't know if we should call her a complete psychopath. Sure, she's been dragged out of the governor's office screaming and crying. And sure, she says that she would dream about power instead of kids. And sure, she thinks that you should trans kids. But psycho, all right, I think that's actually...
How many people do you know of who've been dragged screaming out of the governor's office? This is the only time I've ever heard this story in Tennessee. If there's a second, like, if you're listening in... Please email Chris and tell me. I'd love to know if there's a second person in Tennessee who's been dragged screaming out of the governor's office.
Hold on, here it is. Here it is. Here comes the scream. And then she just sits there in like a puddle and cries. It's embarrassing.
Well, politics and acting are actually more similar than people would think, but... I wonder if in that moment she realized that she was going to be a semi-serious candidate for Congress and how that was going to play out for her.
It does feel a little bit too close for comfort.
It does because there's a lack of urgency. So the one thing I'm going to talk about all the time this hour, if you live in the western part of Williamson County, the western part of Davidson County, or any of the 8 to 10 counties west of Nashville, that's essentially District 7 is what I just described. Go to sos.tn.gov, sos.tn.gov, so that you can learn where you can early vote, and please do it today or tomorrow. Matt is a friend of mine. He's a great guy. He has some really cool stories from his time flying helicopters overseas for this country, and I believe he's going to be an Andy Ogle-style warrior for our movement, not just someone who shows up, but somebody who's really willing to fight for us.
All right, we'll talk about it on the way. Josh Tifo is in studio, and we're going to open up the phone lines today. We're gonna Tifo Tuesday is now going to be open to the public.
All right, that's
615-737-9986.
We got to give the people what they want.
The people want more Tifo, and it's Tuesday, so we're going to give it to them. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, let's go.
It's 11 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Bordeaux got a crash now, Buena Vista Pike and Clarksville Pike, and they're still cleaning up that semi-fire blocking the right lane, 24 westbound there at 440. A tractor-trailer caught fire overnight. I think it was full of beer. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. A powerful line of storms slamming parts of the South amid the busiest Thanksgiving travel season in 15 years. A storm leaving a path of destruction. Extensive damage to more than 100 homes. Roofs blown off. Debris scattered across yards. High winds toppling trees and breaking windows. This resident calling the wind unbelievable.
It was so forceful. It was like fighting 50 men. Until I finally got the door shut.
Yeah, a lot of damage there in East Texas. I should say Southeast Texas, the Houston area, then also Mississippi. Police in France say they've made more arrests in connection with last month's heist at the Louvre. 4 people arrested this morning, including the last member of the so-called Gang of Four, who police say carried out the heist. ABC's Tom Sufi Burridge is in Paris.
In the CCTV footage from October the 19th, when that daylight heist on a Sunday morning at the Louvre took place, you can see two men who actually go up that ladder and cut the hole in the window of the Louvre and then access the building, go in, smash the glass casings, and then make it out before the police can arrive. And there are two other individuals on motorbikes down at the bottom of the ladder who were the getaway drivers. So 4 in total. Police believe now they have the whole gang.
Yeah, but they don't have the jewels that were stolen. A White House holiday tradition taking place today, and this one involves turkeys. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers has details.
President Trump continues an annual White House tradition and will pardon 2 Thanksgiving turkeys today in the Rose Garden. Gobble and Waddle are the turkeys selected for this presidential honor and will not end up on a dinner table on Thursday night. The turkeys were raised in North Carolina and traveled to Washington this week, where they were treated to a suite at the very fancy Willard Hotel, just a few blocks from the White House. After their pardon, Gobble and Waddle will head back to North Carolina and will live at an agricultural science center at NC State University in Raleigh. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
So if your social media feed pops up with an ad for the perfect gift, be careful. Clicking on that link could lead you to fictitious websites designed to take your money or personal information. Former FBI cybersecurity expert Eric O'Neill urges consumers take a bit and do a little research.
Just type in Google the retailer name, the name that they're using, plus scam. And if someone else has been hit by them, it's going to show up.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Is the problem. Super Talk
It's 11:05, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Really excited. We got Josh Tifo in studio. Tifo Tuesdays. He's the senior director for Turning Point USA and Turning Point Action. That way, if the lawyers start salivating.
You got to say the second. If we're going to talk about Ben and Aftyn all day today, like you got to say the second
we
part
don't want,
for sure.
We don't want the lawyers to salivate. It's a C4. He's allowed to talk about this stuff. Josh is in studio. What's up, man? How are you?
Having a lot of fun. I love that the center of the political universe is right here for a very short period of time. And it gives us the chance to talk about the larger issues at play here. I mean, you look at the future that the Republicans and the Democrats are trying to build in the nation. I mean, two completely different civilizations. What are your thoughts on some of the crazy things we've already caught her saying on camera?
I'm surprised it took this long to come out. I thought that people have been sitting on this stuff for a while. I'm surprised this hasn't been running full steam ahead the entire race.
I agree. I mean, it would have been a great way to set the narrative. The one that kills me, can we play the clip of her talking about the patriarchy and all that? That's the one that really kills me.
This is a good one.
My therapist always asks me to transcribe my dreams when they happen. And the recurring dream I've had is standing up in a cafeteria full of women, I don't know why I was there or whatever, and saying, I don't want children, I want power, and just screaming it at the top of my lungs.
Classic Democrats, right?
So you got to love it because this is modern feminism in one soundbite. And 10 years ago, this would have been an SNL clip. This is something that we would all be laughing about on Saturday night back when SNL was actually funny. Although I will say SNL, they're starting to get back there. They've had a few.
They're working towards it.
They're working towards it. It's almost watchable, but it's not quite there yet. This is the future that the left wants for America. This is the future that modern feminism wants for America. And before I put all the blame on these women who hate the idea of submitting to a man in marriage, who hate the idea of having children and making their life about more than trying to become a mid-level corporate executive and then going out to get drunk on Broadway. Instead of just ranting against them, I want to take it back to who I believe is primarily at fault for this entire civilizational problem, and that is the millennial men and Gen X men who are asleep at the wheel, who could not lead themselves, and thus were not able to lead wives, lead kids, form family units. So I look at someone like Aftyn, and who knows, maybe if she dated a real man at any point down the line, she wouldn't have ended up as this rabid fourth wave feminist who's running against a war hero trying to make him sound like this evil patriarchal monster.
That's Josh Tifo, full-time savage, part-time senior director for Turning Point USA, Turning Point Action. She keeps going, though.
And for someone who grew up with my mother telling me never have kids because you'll have to give up a lot. You'll have to sacrifice professionally, which is what she was saying. And where I am now with seeing the consequences and the ramifications of women having kids and being in the political field and what they're able to achieve, because we don't offer, it's like the political field hasn't met the challenge of working moms. They really haven't.
She's so right, because I'm under the impression that the front runner for governor of the state of Tennessee would just regrets having her kids completely, right? Doesn't she?
It makes me think of a quote from Kellyanne Conway at the Turning Point Women's Summit. I think it was 7-8 years ago, when she said, you can have it all, but you can't have it all at the same time. There are times in your life where you can focus on having kids, and especially when they're young, it's so important to give them all of your time and energy and focus and love. There's a reason why the babies always want mom. I like to joke that our 1-year-old son is a daddy's boy because he loves hanging out with me. We eat the same thing for breakfast, these 2 huge breakfast burritos, and he eats his own, like he eats like a construction worker. And I like to joke that he's a daddy's boy, but let's be honest, he loves his mom most.
Yeah.
And that's the way biologically it's supposed to be. That attachment is a special, holy thing. And there's a reason why modern day feminists are some of the most miserable people you will ever meet in your life. They are actively at war with the way that God made them biologically.
But you think about Aftyn Behn here, and you think about how awful that must have been in childhood. When your mom sits you down and goes, I could have had so much more if I didn't have you. Oh, it's like, oh, man.
That's just like the foundation for like a depressing life. And don't get me wrong, God can help us overcome depressing circumstances in our childhood. But I wouldn't be surprised if that horrible advice that her mom gave her came from some type of place of brokenness, from men who treated her poorly. There's only oxygen for modern day feminism in any subculture or American culture at large when men are failing to lead themselves, lead women, lead children, and lead family units. The failure of men to be godly, strong leaders in society leaves the door open for the Aftyns of the world to build cultural power and lead more women astray, just like her mom led her astray.
It's actually like I'm sad for her. Like that sucks.
Well,
Like,
let me
your
tell you
mom
what I
sat
want.
you down and told you
I
that.
want Aftyn to meet a good, strong, godly man, and I want her to follow Jesus, and I want her to throw out all this evil garbage she's standing for right now, and I want her to live a good, fulfilling life. God can do that for her.
You're absolutely right. God's transformed a lot worse than what we're hearing from.
But
from
for
Aftyn.
now, we need to vote against her. So again, sos.tn.gov, sos.tn.gov. If you live in the western portion of Davidson, western portion of Williamson, or any of the 8 to 10 counties west of Greater Nashville, you have today, you have tomorrow. Get out and vote for my friend Matt. He's a great guy.
Here, put those headphones on for me because we got calls coming in. People want to get in on TIFO Tuesday. Let's go to Brian in Nashville. What's up, Brian?
Hey, bro. I told Mason I want to speak to Josh because I was so impressed last week. I don't know. I know you've had him on for a while, but just with his maturity. I mean, this kid. I say a kid. I don't know how old you are, but love listening to you. I'm 65. I'm the father of 3 children. Been married to my wife for 43 years. Try to be a godly man, but sometimes I use expletives and I get looked down on for that sometimes. But sometimes I hear people on the radio say that, and it makes me feel better. Wink, wink. I don't use real bad expletives, but anyway, I do sometimes, and I feel bad about that because you're talking about godly fathers, and that really hits me. I don't want to get upset. Right in the heart. We need that so bad in this country. We, like you say, Aftyn Behn is just one example of so many millions, probably, of people, not just women, but people that Jesus can change if you surrender.
Amen.
And I've preached that to my family. They've preached it to me. I had such a godly mother. I didn't have a godly father, but guess what? One day I come home in 8th grade, and he goes, "You're not going to that public school anymore. You're going to this Christian school up here in Whites Creek, Tennessee, which doesn't exist anymore as it did then." And I'm like, "Dude, you never darkened the door of a church. I'm not going to that sissy school." Well, it made the difference in my life. I'm who I am today. Not that I'm that great a guy, because I'm not, but I am who I am today because of that. I met my wife there. My children have gone to Christian schools. My children are all Christian. Their spouses or girlfriends and their children are being brought up that way. And we believe in discipline and obedience. But, Josh, I want to say one thing, and it struck me so much when you said some things about what we need. We need to be self-critical. Look in the mirror. That causes you to get on your knees if you're sincere to yourself, because you know it's not you. You know, in the Bible, God says, just look around. You know, there was a time when he winked at ignorance, but not anymore. And so I'll leave it at that. But I just appreciate you so much, what you stand for. Chris, you know how I feel about you, bro. I'm going to meet you one day because I think your wife and my daughter are friends, kind of.
Yes, sir.
And I appreciate you. And I love this. I think having Josh on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever, you know, if you can afford him.
That's the big ass. That's the big ass, Brian. This guy gets expensive.
Well, I've got $5 for you. I've been given to the National Rescue Mission. That's why I didn't call in yesterday and pledge, because I've already pledged. I pledge every month, and I think it's a worthwhile thing. And so we see eye to eye on so many things. I'd never get in the front of line on your show anyway, Chris. Y'all have a great day.
So first off, praise God for the work he has done in your life, and praise God for how he has used you to lead your family unit throughout many generations. And you just described all the people in your sphere of influence who are living God's way, who are following him. And that's what happens when God grabs the heart of a man, and that man leads throughout the generations. The research is wild. When there's a family unit and none of them are Christians, the husband, the wife, the kids, none of them follow Jesus, and God grabs the heart of the man, over 90% of the time, the wife and the kids get saved. It completely changes the entire dynamic of the family, and it makes it really hard for the women in the family to become susceptible to feminism. When there is a good, strong, godly man serving as the example for what a husband should look like, that sets that way you can be the example for what she needs to look for out there in the world when she's setting up her own family unit. So praise God for the way you're leading, and thank you for calling in.
Yeah, we appreciate you. Let's go to Julia in Jolton. She wants to talk about the District 7 race in Aftyn Behn. What's up, Julia?
I have been driving around a lot of the morning, and I have seen one Aftyn Behn sign. One.
Just one.
Just one. And I wanted to stop and take it, but I'm a godly woman, so I didn't do it.
Good for you.
Chris, you have the best fans in the world.
But I want to tell you the impact that what you guys are doing. I've been a passive Christian for at least 10 years because I thought, why me, God? Why? You say you only give us what we can handle. Well, I've realized he must think very highly of me because he gives me a lot to handle. But when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, I ordered a cross. I don't take it off because a very clear line in the sand has been drawn. You're either good or you're evil, and I'm nothing evil.
Amen. Well, we appreciate you calling in, Julia. Thank you so much. I think that was a line in the sand for a lot of people.
It was a line in the sand for me and my family. God used that tragedy to fully activate us. I mean, within days of when that happened, I pretty much told God, I will surrender all my life. I don't care about comfort anymore. I don't care about what we want anymore. We'll do whatever you call us to do. And I had no intention of going into media. I had no idea that I would end up on your show every week. But that's what happens when you answer that call and you say, here I am, send me. Here we are, send us. Our family will do whatever you want. God will send you on missions you never foresaw. And that's a beautiful, joyful, fun thing. It's been a very joyful time obeying his call, even amidst it being the most difficult time of my life, mourning one of my best friends.
Yeah, it's been a wild few months, man. But I think it's important to point out that even though we're rooting against Aftyn Behn in this election, we're rooting for her to be saved. Like, we're rooting for her life to be transformed. I don't want Aftyn Behn to be a miserable person and sound psychotic all the time. Like, I just don't. I don't want her to have dreams where she's screaming that she wants power and not kids. I want her to have the family that she deserves, because I think that it's going to bring unbelievable joy to her life. But to say that she'd rather have power, I think you're missing the mark.
And that is exactly how we as Christians should look at people who do not have the Holy Spirit, who are not following Jesus. Why on earth would we expect someone who doesn't have Jesus in their life to act like they do? If God didn't save me, I probably would have been a really bad person. And he gets all the glory and all the thanks and all the praise for who I've become and who my family's become. It's definitely not because of me. It's all because of him.
Amen.
And I hope and I pray that God saves her and that she has a wonderful marriage and wonderful kids. But
in the
meantime, let's win. In the meantime, let's make sure that a good, strong, godly man wins instead. So vote for Matt, sos.tn.gov, sos.tn.gov. If you live in Western Williamson County, Western Davidson County, or any of those 8 to 10 counties west of Greater Nashville, you can vote early today, vote early tomorrow. Go to sos.tn.gov, and you can learn where you can vote early. Early in person, very secure.
Because while we're rooting for her to be saved, the reality is she's not. And the reality is if we lose this race, we get a congressional representative in the 7th District that believes men can have babies.
I think as an organizer and as an activist, like, we really have an opportunity here in this country to talk about what type of progressive policies we want to see as young women. And I think we have, as birther, as women who can give birth, men and women who can give birth, we could maybe leverage that as collective bargaining, which is the basis of this book that I've just started reading, but called Birth Strike, and how we can really leverage collective bargaining when it comes to having children in this country. And so, for example, like, I'm not going to give birth until the United States government concedes ABCD.
So That's a little weird.
So it's pretty rare that I have no response to a clip. I haven't heard that one yet, actually.
You hadn't heard that one?
I'm dumbfounded, but I take it back to what were we talking about a few minutes ago? Like, that was complete, utter, ridiculous foolishness, but she doesn't have God in her life. So, yes, we should make fun of it. Yes, we should say, okay, that's even more reason to go out and vote for Matt. But I just see it as sad. I hear a clip like that, and I think God created Adam and God created Eve, and he created the idea of two people coming together and starting a family. And he did all of that for our joy. He did all that because he loves us. And to see how far we've come, that in 2025, somebody who is becoming a widely known politician, and thank God, it looks like Matt's going to win. If we all get out and vote, Matt's going to win. Seeing somebody who's prominent in this current political situation, talking about these ridiculous, absurd things, somebody who views having children, one of God's greatest gifts to humanity, as some type of curse to be avoided. I mean, it breaks my heart, but also it's exactly how the left, it's exactly how the Democrats look at motherhood today. It's an all-out war on motherhood. They look at it as some type of lowly, subservient thing to be able to make a human being and deliver a human being and raise a human being and feed a human being and sustain them with your own body. It is one of the most beautiful, profound, incredible gifts that God has given to humanity. And what has Satan done? He's created a culture within a significant chunk of this country that looks at one of God's greatest gifts with complete disdain. And it breaks my heart, and it leads to the obsession that the left has with abortion.
Yep.
Because if listen to her speech. I mean, she talks about how she's reading a book called Birth Strike. She's talking about how women need to leverage it as collective bargaining. I mean, what does that practically look like? That practically looks like saying, oh, you want a baby? Well, like, I'm going to kill it unless you do this.
Yeah.
Like, that's the type of negotiation that these feminists are talking about. And that's a vile thing. We can want these people to be saved, but also call out evil. And we need to. We need to.
And it's also important to point out that the Democrats will then say, we don't have enough people in this country. We need to import more.
Well, that's their whole play. They don't want people like us having more kids. They want to import more of the third world because they want power. At the end of the day, it's hilarious to me how Aftyn just said the quiet part out loud. I mean, she quite literally dreams of power, and the Democrats quite literally dream of power. They don't care about the economic upheaval and harm that will be done importing tens of millions of people from the third world as AI is optimizing the country, and we have fewer and fewer jobs. It breaks my heart. But also, one interesting thing, a few days ago, the jobs report came out, and we actually added a considerable number of new jobs in the country, despite corporate AI optimization, which tells you one very important thing. The Trump economy it's really humming. And
it's important to point out that it was American jobs and also not jobs in the federal government, which is massive.
Yeah, which is huge. It tells me that entrepreneurs are going out and building new things. And that is a fantastic thing for the country.
And it does seem like the media is in a full court press to try and convince the American population that the economy is in a downturn.
And they're trying, and they're going to try to ride that message into the midterm. But at a certain point, if we keep doing well enough, I mean, they're not going to be able to keep that up forever. There's also another huge reason why we have a strong position going into the midterms on the economic message. We have free social media. We have X, we have TikTok, we have Facebook and Instagram, which are reasonably free. So before all of that happened, it would be tough to overcome the mainstream media narrative that we're in some type of economic downturn that needs to be fixed with a Democrat wave election. The truth can get out to the American people easier than ever now. And I got to give a shout out to Elon Musk for that. Elon Musk was the first domino. When he bought X, and it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in the history of business. When he won, he picked up a sink, or when he bought X, when he won his bid, he picked up a sink and walked it into Twitter headquarters, like the whole "let that sink in" meme.
Yep.
He's one of the funniest people I've ever seen in my life.
It's the best. We got Josh Tipo in studio. Tipo Tuesdays will continue on the way. It's 11:25. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. How would you like to kick off your holidays by getting back to a pain-free life? You might be thinking, well, Chris, the holidays are on the way, and I got a budget. I got Christmas gifts I need to get. Well, it's not going to break the bank. See, the Big Daddy Trump special is still going on at the Wellness Institute of Nashville, and just $12, $12. It's going to get you a full exam, x-rays if needed, a well-explained diagnosis, and your first treatment. Only $12. Pain-free for the holidays. Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Ashley, they're going to get you back to that pain-free life, and they're not going to give you opioids. They're not going to focus on painful injections, and they're not going to try and talk you into surgery. They're not going to do it. What they're going to bring you is non-surgical spinal decompression, robot lasers, anti-gravity machines. So no surgery, no injections, and no opioids. Grab your MRI, get ready to finally understand your condition and fix it. Call the Wellness Institute today, 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009, painisbad.com.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Still got that semi-fire cleanup blocking the right lane, 24 westbound there at I-440. A truck remains on the shoulder, and they're still trying to get it off the shoulder and out of everybody's way. Meanwhile, peak holiday travel for Thanksgiving is underway, says Gio Benitez.
90% of people will be driving. That's 73 million of you. The busiest days today, tomorrow, and Sunday. The worst time to hit the road today is between noon and 9 p.m. Tomorrow, you're going to want to get going before 11 a.m. And here's another big number for you. 1.2 million people will be taking a train.
Here in Tennessee, AAA projects 1.9 million of us will travel at least 50 miles from home between now and Monday, setting a new record for Tennessee. About 1.86 million will drive, 51,000 will fly. And if you're one of the millions traveling for Thanksgiving, Franklin Police offering a vacation patrol service while you're away. You can submit your request online at franklintennessee.gov. That's Franklin, capital TN.gov. Prosecutors on New York's Long Island to say they've broken up a ring of porch pirates, people who hacked into a FedEx delivery system to track when and where packages showed up. Here's ABC's Aaron Katursky.
Prosecutors say a sophisticated ring of porch pirates was after mobile phones and other electronics and knew when FedEx was dropping them off because they had hacked into the shipping giant's delivery network and placed bulk orders using fake names but real addresses of unsuspecting homeowners.
Campbell's Soup denying claims about its products that were allegedly made by an executive in a recorded conversation. The person in the recording heard questioning the chicken product in some of the soup. And it is a conversation that's part of a lawsuit, says Sophie Flay.
Campbell saying the chicken meat used in our soups comes from long-trusted USDA-approved U.S. suppliers and meets our high-quality standards. And the company noting Bally worked in IT and had nothing to do with food production. Bally is on leave pending a company investigation. In the meantime, the Attorney General in Florida, a state that bans lab-grown meat, says his office is now investigating Campbell's products.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at Cabinet Makeovers. If you need to get your wife the best Christmas gift on the planet, think about remodeling the kitchen with my friend Dan over at Cabinet Makeovers. They did to our house. And to be perfectly honest with you, probably should have waited till Christmas because my wife loves these cabinets, and I would have won Christmas. They're pull-out cabinets, a pull-out pantry, and they're amazing. Installed by a family-owned company. They've been serving Middle Tennessee for over 45 years. Everything they do is Tennessee-made. Every cabinet they put in, every pull-out, every drawer, all wood construction, full extension, soft close glides. I didn't even know that was a thing, but they're awesome. They're awesome, and you're going to love them, too. It really is going to make your kitchen special. You're not bending over and digging in the cabinets for your pots and pans anymore. The kids can get snacks out of the pantry so much easier. All that happens is I got to tell them no, a little bit more. But this isn't going to be your issue. You're going to love your kitchen. They don't stop at kitchens. They'll do custom closets, pantries, cabinetry for every room in your house, all built with the same Tennessee pride and biblical values that guide their business. So call Cabinet Makeovers today. Get on the schedule. Get an estimate. 615-331-7010, 615-331-7010. Find pictures of their work online, cabinetmakeoverstn.com.
Hey, this is Pastor Al, and join us on Super Talk 99.7, Sunday evenings from 7 to 8. We're going to look at the news from a biblical perspective.
It's 11:36 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Got one of my buddies in studio, Josh Tifo, Senior Director for Turning Point USA and Turning Point Action. What's up, Josh?
Having a lot of fun, Tifo Tuesday.
Tifo Tuesdays. The people love it. Thanksgiving's on the way.
It's on the way, and we all dread when we're going to be face-to-face with that crazy uncle who's telling you all about how Trump's a Russian agent. I want you to change the way that you look at Thanksgiving with crazy people. It is an opportunity to bring the truth into their life. So step one, start praying for them now. Step two, when you're across the table from them, I mean, they want the turkey, they want the stuffing, they want the mashed potatoes, they're not getting up. You have the chance to speak the truth in love, 100% truth, 100% love. You need both. Let them know that you really care about them. You're not just getting your Fox News talking points out the gate.
Josh is lobbying to ruin your Thanksgiving. Do you understand what's going on right now? Josh is like, listen. Just tell them the truth. just go as hardcore as you can.
I mean, when you're looking at that feminist cousin you have who was out marching for Kamala Harris
with a half-shaved head and blue hair on the other side.
What if you just speak the truth in love? You start talking about Jesus. I mean, what's the most powerful way to do that? Just start talking about what God has done in your life and in your family, in your marriage, in your business, because of how you started following his word, because God saved you. Talk about how God saved one of your kids. And just start the conversation there. Let them take the next swing back, talking about how you just subscribe to the patriarchy, or you hate them, or you're just one of those MAGA country evil people who hates the immigrants. And then once they take their swing, then guess what? You're in the arena, and you can start sharing truth with them. Eternal truth, first and foremost, but also political truth. So don't dread it. Pray about it, look forward to it, and then bring the truth to bear at your Thanksgiving table. They might get mad, but you know what? It could be something that changes their life.
It's tough to wake people up, though. And we were talking about this off air. And, listen, I love my sister, but she's just a ridiculous liberal. And she works in education. She is not married. She has no children. All of her friends are liberals. And then, all of the entertainment that she watches has a left lean to it. So it's like, to wake somebody like that up, you are essentially shattering their reality. You're going to lose your friends. They're going to lose their media. They could lose their job potentially because, you live in Massachusetts and you work in education. You're not surrounded by many constitutionalists, What would you say to those kind of individuals? Because there's going to be a lot of pushback. And then do you want to ruin their day and their entire life?
So at first we may think, hey, let's ease off. I mean, I know that there'd be great cost to this, but if we really believe that there's a heaven, if we really believe that there's a hell, and if we really believe that God sent his son Jesus on a divine rescue mission to die for the sins of the world, and that everyone who receives the free gift of salvation goes to heaven, and everyone who rejects that free gift of salvation goes to hell, I mean, if you care at all about that person, you're going to talk about Jesus. And yes, it might be really uncomfortable to lose your job. It might be really uncomfortable to lose your friends. It might be a little uncomfortable to switch the entertainment that you watch. But, I mean, hell is going to be a lot more uncomfortable than all that. So this is my challenge to everyone listening now. Love your leftist family members enough to talk about Jesus at the Thanksgiving dinner table. And, so what? They don't want to talk to you. They're mad at you. They don't like you. If you're a conservative, they already don't like you. What do you have to lose? If you love them enough, tell them about Jesus.
Shoot your shot.
Yeah, I mean, what do you have to lose?
It's a good point.
If you're a conservative and they know it, they already don't like you. Hate to break it to you, your cousin who never talks to you,
there's a reason for that.
When you're posting about Trump, they already hate you. So what do you have to lose? Tell them about Jesus.
Liberals are going to be coming to Thanksgiving with talking points. Did you see the story? Every town for gun safety released Thanksgiving dinner gun control talking points. Breitbart has the story. The talking points are framed around debunking gun myths and provide responses family members can give to a pro-Second Amendment family member. For example, if a pro-Second Amendment family member says guns don't kill people, people kill people, every town suggests responding by saying people with guns kill people and more efficiently than people without guns. And who stops the bad guy with the gun?
Yeah, that's all you got to say. Be like, all right, so what's step two? So step one, bad guy walks in with a gun. Step two, how do we stop him? I mean, a good guy with a gun. Somebody like you or me, or, almost everyone in my family, we conceal carry. Yeah. We're in Tennessee. And that's the reason why you don't really see a lot of terrorist attacks in Tennessee. If you're a terrorist, do you want to get dropped immediately? Then try something in Tennessee.
That's a good point.
These people are semi-rational.
How about this one? If a pro-Second Amendment family member says strong gun laws don't work, look at Chicago. Every town suggests this response. Chicago proves why we must push for strong federal gun laws. Many of the crime guns, this is their speak. It's not a typo. Many of the crime guns recovered in Chicago and in other cities with strong gun violence prevention laws are trafficked in from states with weaker gun laws.
So you look at the federal argument. At the end of the day, you have to zoom back and say, we know that the bad guys are going to get guns. It happens all over the world, even in places where it's illegal. So if, let's say that we pass some type of federal law against carrying a firearm, then the only people who will have firearms amongst the populace will be people who don't care about violating federal law. So guys like you and me will not have guns to protect our family, and the people who ignore federal law will easily get them or make them. You can literally 3D print them now. So that's the most ridiculous argument in the world, because if we know the bad guys are going to do it anyway, then don't we want the good guys to be able to have them too to protect their families?
Yep. I love they're trafficked in from red states. You know that. It's like, oh, and if that wasn't the case, they'd be trafficked in from Mexico.
Yeah, or they'd be
Canada.
3D printed. I mean, the gangs, they're going to find ways to make and traffic in weapons. The question's going to be, how easy is it for good people to have them?
Yep. So talk to your family members at Thanksgiving. They're going to be aiming for you, so be prepared to talk to them, especially about eternal truths. As we move forward, I mean, we're going to blink and the new year is going to be here. We're going to be in campaign season, midterms on the way. What's the biggest focus with Turning Point Action as we move into the midterms?
So our big focus, first I'll talk about Turning Point USA. Our big focus is a massive expansion. So we had over 130,000 people who reached out who want to start Turning Point chapters, high school and college, all over the country. We're at near saturation as far as college chapters. Just about every mid-size and major college in all 50 states has a Turning Point chapter. So we want to grow those chapters, start them at smaller schools. But almost all of this future growth trajectory is with Club America high school chapters. We have almost 3,000 now chartered chapters, which is amazing. That number needs to be 20,000. So the last day I ever spent with Charlie, he cast this big, crazy vision where he wanted 20,000 Club America chapters, which would be roughly 3/4 of the high schools in the United States. He wanted to create an inverse culture where high school is the cultural time when you learn Judeo-Christian truth. It is when you learn about the founding of the country. It's when you learn about the Second Amendment. It's when you learn about capitalism, creating this inverse culture where instead of shifting America to the left in those teenage years, we're shifting America to the right in those teenage years. And that's the big push with TPUSA. We're undergoing a massive expansion right now, and thank God it's going well. And if you're one of our donors listening, thank you for supporting us. If you're one of our chapter leaders listening, thank you for doing the work. And then on the Turning Point Action side, we are going to put aggressive emphasis on a handful of very important states. We're going to go all in on Arizona, all in on New Hampshire. The Turning Point Action model is essentially winning states, not focusing on individual races. Because when you focus on building infrastructure in a state and winning a state, you win the statewide races, you win the congressional races, you win the local races, all the way down the board. And we saw the extreme version of this with the states we spent tons and tons of money on in the Chase the Vote 2024 campaign, notably Arizona and Wisconsin. We also had a massive effort through partners in Pennsylvania and Georgia. And what happened when we drove historic turnout for Donald Trump? We won tons of statewide races. It's explicitly why we won that Senate race in Pennsylvania. And we won everything all the way down to dog catcher because we focused on winning states instead of focusing on winning individual races. And this is a big deal because when you focus on building infrastructure in states, then yes, you're playing for the win in 26, but you're also moving the ball down the field for future elections. You're cleansing data. You're winning hearts and minds. So let's say that you go all in on a state, but you lose some big statewide race. You move the ball further down the field to help you win in 28. So win or lose, you're still gaining ground. I'd like to say that we're geniuses. The left has been doing this for 10, 20 years.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
We're just finally playing their game.
And with a lot of that expansion and a lot of the operations that you guys are doing, you're creating a lot of jobs. So if you want to get involved with Turning Point USA or Turning Point Action, find the website and click careers and see what fits your life. Is it bad for me? So I was reading an article today, and it's about the Marjorie Taylor Greene resignation. And it also plays into the Aftyn Behn, Matt Van Epps race. But they're talking about a situation where we could lose the majority before the midterms. Like that's a realistic possibility. Am I wrong for having a thought that maybe that's the best thing that could happen to us on the way to midterms, to light a fire under the conservative base and the conservative movement, to lose the majority for 2 months, 3 months, so that way we are so motivated going into midterms, whereas otherwise there's a potential for falling asleep at the wheel. Am I misguided in thinking that?
So you're the first person to say that to me, and that could be true. Obviously, we want to win. We don't want to lose the majority. We don't want to go through all the ridiculous investigations that would only happen for a few months if we were about to retake it. You're right that would add
a silver lining.
It would be a silver lining, but we shouldn't focus on it. It definitely would ratchet up the sense of urgency, but whether that happens or not, we must ratchet up the sense of urgency. And I look at one of the big things that the House is discussing now, which is whether or not they're going to continue the ACA subsidies for the next 2 years. Why on earth are we talking about continuing the ACA subsidies? We should be talking about dismantling the ACA. I know that we lost that big fight a handful of years ago. The ACA is a complete mess. It's a tax on the people who provide the most value in the economy. It's essentially another federal welfare program, and it makes medical care dramatically worse for virtually everyone involved. We have this pseudo-socialist medical care system in America. I don't want a House that's arguing about how many years we should continue an ACA subsidy. I want a House that goes up and does a press conference. I want Mike Johnson to do a press conference in 2 hours and say, the ACA is really bad for the American people, so we're going to try to dismantle it tomorrow. That's the energy that I want. And unfortunately, I don't see it from most of Congress. I could see it from someone like Matt. That is why I really want to get Matt in there.
Matt Van Epps.
I don't just want him to beat somebody who's going to be a very bad actor. He could be one of those warriors for us. I've known him personally for a little while now. I actually give a shout out to Lee Beeman, an old friend of mine, who put us on a text together well before we all knew about this race. And he said, hey, you got to meet this Matt guy. Like, he's the real deal. So I had lunch with Matt a long time ago, and I was very impressed. Matt could be one of those warriors who has the courage to pick up those battles, who most of these members of Congress, I mean, they don't have the guts to do. So again, I'll bring it back to what I've been saying all hour. sos.tn.gov, sos.tn.gov. That is where you can find your early voting location. Vote early today, vote early tomorrow. Either of those days. We're not Democrats, so you only vote once. And if you're in the western portion of Williamson County, the western portion of Davidson County, or any of those counties, the 7, 8, 9 counties west of Greater Nashville, vote early today or vote early tomorrow. You're not just making sure a crazy person doesn't represent Tennessee. You are electing somebody who could be a warrior, turning point style congressman for our movement.
It's exciting to think about. What are the odds looking at this election? How do you feel going into it? It does feel like there's a lot of momentum from the Democrats. It feels like there's a lot of energy on their side. How do we wake people up?
So there's a lot of energy on their side, but there's more conservatives in those counties. We win if we show up. It doesn't matter how much energy they have. It doesn't matter how much money they spend. It doesn't matter how many PR stunts they pull off. If we show up in force, they have a 0% chance of winning. But that is completely up to those of you who are listening. If we show up in force, especially for early voting today and tomorrow, we will win. They have a 0% chance if there is strong GOP turnout in these 9 counties.
0%. It's a turnout game.
If we have a strong turnout, and don't quote me on the 9, it might be 10 counties. There is a 0% chance that Aftyn wins if GOP patriots turn out in mass. If we turn out in any type of strong way, then there's a 0% chance she wins. So it is up to you listening whether or not she has a shot.
So when you're trying to create that sense of urgency and bring up the energy, what do you suggest people do to get their friends and their family motivated? What does that look like? What steps can we take?
So a great step you can take today and tomorrow, vote, post about voting, and then just talk to people in your life you respect. It's one of the number one reasons why people vote in any election. Someone they respect told them that they should and told them who they should vote for. So if there's anyone in your life who you have any sort of influence over, I mean, text them, call them, be like, I'm voting for Matt at 3 p.m. Like, you want to come with me. That type of positive social pressure is the best way that you can make a difference. Don't believe the lie that I hear from a lot of young Americans who say that my vote doesn't matter. Like, my vote doesn't matter unless it's going to be decided by 1 vote. Why does my vote matter? Or unless it's going to be decided by 10 votes, then like, why should me and my family and my friends vote if I'm going to influence 10 votes? First off, it's about obeying God and trusting him with the results. But number 2, it's also about doing something bigger than yourself. We are called to obey, we're called to do the right things, and we're called to leave the victory up to God. So it is up to you, if you believe in these values that we hold dear as Christians and as Americans, to vote for Matt today or tomorrow, and to get everybody who will listen to you to do the same. We have a big chance to get one of the good guys into Congress. We complain a lot about Congress. Well, you got a great shot here to get a fighter into Congress.
How many votes do you think is deciding this race?
I'm not going to make that prediction.
You're not going to make that prediction?
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Okay.
All that I'm going to say is, if we show out in mass, then if we show up in mass, then it's not even going to be close. But I see a possible scenario where GOP turnout stays very low. We think we have it in the bag, and Aftyn wins.
Which is terrifying.
Yeah, which is horrifying, and it would be a huge blow to the party and to the conservative movement in Tennessee. Even if she's only in office for a little bit and then loses in the midterms, I don't care. I do not want to give evil a foothold in Tennessee. So please, 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 sos.tn.gov. If you live in Western Williamson, Western Davidson, any of those counties west of Greater Nashville, go out and vote early for Matt today or tomorrow.
It's important to point out, if you don't go out and vote, you are literally answering Aftyn Behn's dreams.
My therapist always asks me to transcribe my dreams when they happen. And the recurring dream I've had is standing up in a cafeteria full of women. I don't know why I was there or whatever. And saying, I don't want children, I want power.
You wouldn't want to make Aftyn's dreams come true, would you?
And also ask yourself, let's say that she wins, God forbid, because conservatives do not show up today, tomorrow, and on election day. Then even if she's only a congresswoman for months, she will have some level of a platform in Nashville to tell a bunch of young women that you should chase power and not have kids. Is that the city you want to live in?
No, not at all.
Yeah. sos.tennessee.gov. Learn your early voting location and vote today or tomorrow for Matt.
Josh, how can we keep up with you off the air? Where can we find you on social media?
At Josh Tifo, THIFAULT, at Josh Tifo, THIFAULT, on X, on TikTok, on Instagram.
We do it every Tuesday. Tifo Tuesdays. The people demand it now. Do you understand that, right?
It's a lot of fun.
They love Tifo
Chris,
Tuesdays.
You're the best. I love it. Thank you.
Man,
thank you.
We love you, brother, and appreciate you coming in. And as always, it's 11:53. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.